Good morning. Yeah, good morning. It's 11:05 here on the West Coast, Northeast. And do you hear that? Do you hear that? Does anybody hear that? Do you hear that? Do you hear that? It's quiet. What am I going to do now? It's quiet. It's quiet. It's quiet. Yeah. The puppies are off to the farmer / livestock market. And we'll see what happens today. Yeah, keep our fingers crossed that all of them get placed with these farmers and ranchers that show up for these events. You know. Okay, so I want to talk about a couple of things. You know, I was made aware of a video that was made about someone that I consider a friend, um, and when I went and watched the video about the video, um, I was extremely disappointed that somebody would do something like that to this woman because she is a very fine pillar in our community, has done many things to help people navigate through this bullshit world that we're going through right now, has solidified her faith, um, you know, and showed her works while, proved her works, I should say, while helping with the prayathons and things like that. And who am I talking about? Oh, I'm talking about Miss Bonnie. Okay. And she showed the video that was made about her. And as I was listening to it, one particular thing came up, and it said that that it was posted on my channel. Okay. She didn't mean that the video itself was posted up on my channel. It's just that's that's where a lot of the conversation went on. Okay. So this is what I'm going to tell my mods. Mods, if people are directing people to other channels to go and watch this video or that video, take the comments down. Period. Okay. Because once we get into the X feed and everything else, I'm not paying much attention to chat. And Raymond, do you have a problem? Do you have a fucking problem, Raymond? Waiting. Because you see, we get these people who come into the chat that want to distract from what we're trying to do. And that is everybody grow together. We're one big fucking watch party. Okay. We watch the videos together. We read the news clips together. We talk about these things. And it appears that people aren't happy because maybe you're not going to their channel. You're not listening to what they have to say. Well, you want to know what? You're on my channel. And I don't give a fuck what you have to say. Okay? It's that simple. You want to have your opinion, go make a video, put it up on your channel, do your live stream, and talk about whatever the hell you want. But when it comes to mine, meaning mine, meaning M-I-N-E, me, okay, then the content that I put up is the content that I put up. Why? Because it's my channel. The things that I talk about are decisions of mine. Topics are mine to choose. I don't give a shit about new albums coming out, new movies coming out, and all that other stuff. I don't care about it. Because the only thing that people do when they come into your chat and talk about these things is distract you from the information that we are putting in front of you. Okay, whether it's my channel or anybody else's channel. Topics are topics. Okay. It's not my job to provide everybody a platform to promote their channel. Because that's not what this is about, promoting your channel. If you're on my channel, it's about the content in which I'm going to provide you with. And then it's up to you to go through and do a little research using discernment and coming to a consensus with yourself as to whether that information that we provided was accurate or if it was baseless. Okay. Now, I watched the video that Bonnie was concerned about because she felt that it was kind of threatening to her. And in a way, I totally get her point. I get her point of view. Now, when the video was explained to her by another person, okay, that it was supposed to be a compliment to her for coming out of her shell, okay, because Bonnie wasn't one to jump on camera, okay, but that's Bonnie's choice. That's her choice. She wasn't ready to put her face out there yet. It was enough that her voice was there. Her opinion was there. Her prayers were there. Her conviction in Christ was there. And that should have been all that anybody required. Half the time I sit here and talk to you guys without a camera on because of the fact that it uses up bandwidth. Okay. And, you know, using the camera, you know, it does make it a lot easier. Give me 1 second. Let me let Mama in there so she can. There you go. Check it out. Check out the whole box. There you go. Each person is going to present themselves and their content in a particular manner. Okay. Now, I used to go through with you guys and we used to watch X22. We'd watch And We Know. We'd watch Melissa Red Pill. We still watch Melissa Red Pill because she is one that's I think she just does incredible work, and she has an incredible faith about her. Okay, and I love that. I love that. Okay, but Bonnie's choice to turn on her camera Okay. That was a long time coming for her to decide to do that. You know, I went from showing all these other podcasters to doing just my own thing because all the information that we were looking at and gathering between Twitter and other platforms and the news, okay, was basically coinciding with everything that these other guys were doing, only we were talking about it 3 or 4 days ahead of time. So it doesn't make sense to me to go and play LT or X22 or some of these other podcasters anymore because we're already talking about those subjects. Okay. And in most cases with you guys, I don't have to repeat myself or repeat videos over and over again in order to get a point across to you guys. Okay. You see it for what it is. You do your own research, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're glad that that we're not harboring on the same things that everybody else is. We've moved on to the next topic with the gainful knowledge that we know about the other situation already. Now, in this video that they made about Bonnie, okay, it showed a guy standing there with a fake sword, okay, and a woman in the stockade. It wasn't a guillotine; it was a stockade, okay. You know, bringing a sword down on the girl's head, you know, stick it in there, and then and then the repeated "kill me now, kill me now, kill me now." That's not complimentary to anybody. If anything, that's just disrespectful. Okay. I love the turtle on the treadmill. I thought that was awesome. Okay. But the fact of the matter is that you disrespected this woman who has done nothing but great good for our community, shared her concerns, her fears. She opened herself up to everybody. Okay. And all of a sudden now, um, because of the fact that she puts her face on camera, you're going to disrespect her in that way. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. Okay? That's not what this community is about. This community was based on and built on building people up, not tearing them down. Giving everybody a chance to say something as long as it was respectful. You know, and you know, and if that link was shared in my chat, I'm telling you, mods, now, okay, don't let that happen again. You know, because that's wrong. That's wrong. Okay, and you guys know, as soon as I go to the X feed, I don't see you guys anymore. Okay, on the chat side. Okay, so I'm counting on you mods, you know, to take care of that. Okay, and you know, I in from my heart, Bonnie, I'm sorry that you were exposed to that. I truly am. Okay, because you've been nothing but cordial with everybody. You've been respectful. You've been extremely giving, you know, of your time and your energy and your prayers for so many people. And I think that that kind of um, uh, that type of mentality just isn't what we're about. It isn't, you know. Um, you know, you know. So when they come in and they start talking about everything else going on in the world, just tell them, listen, we're trying to focus on the topics of the day. Okay, and that's where we want to leave it. I don't care about wrestling. I don't care about movies. I don't care about up and coming singers. I don't care about new songs coming out. I don't care about new concerts coming out and everything else. I really don't. Okay, because when all these other topics are brought up, what you're doing is distracting the people in the chat from paying attention to the content that whoever the content creator is. Okay, it's not just me. I see it in other people's chats too. Okay. The objective is to let the person get their content out, get their viewpoint out, their opinions, not all these other topics that have absolutely nothing to do with the podcast that's going on. I'm just not doing it. And believe me, if I see you bringing up topics that have absolutely nothing to do with the topics of today, and you're taking and pulling people in another direction, I'm gonna mute you. I'll put you in timeout until you come to your senses. You know, it's too important to make sure that we learn everything that we can and that we support each other in daily life. Okay, we have friends who are going through marriage situations. We have friends that are going through child situations. We have, those kind of things. That's one thing. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, but all this other stuff, I don't care if Hulk Hogan's coming back. I don't care if who's going to win the AEW championship. I don't care who's going to win the WWE championship. I don't give two craps about Roman Reigns. Okay, I don't. I used to be a big wrestling fan up until a couple of years ago. And I know wrestling's fake. Okay, I get it. Okay, what I found was the incredible athleticism of the individuals, and I liked the storylines. I thought it was pretty cool. But it's like, with everything else that's going on in the world today, we have enough real battles going on than to look at fake TV. Real things that are out there. And to me, those things are more important than who in the hell holds the WWE championship, or who's got a new record coming out, or who's got a new song coming out. I don't care. I don't care. And you want to know what? I honestly believe that 90% of my chat doesn't care either. We're doing everything that we can to spread information, knowledge, love, and the Word of God. That's what we're trying to do. What are you trying to do? You know what I'm saying? Pappy Two Bears, I have a compliment for you. I watched that video that Bonnie played of yours, and about the mouse and the eagle. I love it. Great work. That was a very, very well put together video. Very nice. Very nice. I like it. It's we have so many things going on in the world today that we don't need to worry about what this Hollywood actress or anything else is doing or anything else, because you want to know what? That's Hollywood. That's Hollywood. Okay. That's a world that I don't want to be in. I don't want to be in that world. I'm here in the real world. Okay. I am not of the world, but unfortunately, I am in the world right now. And frankly, I don't need the added drama added to my life. And I know you people don't either. You've got more than enough going on in your lives right now. Okay. Trying to keep fuel in your cars, trying to keep fuel in your houses. Okay. Trying to keep food in your house, keeping the bills paid and everything else while this inflationary environment is destroying not just the physical, but is destroying the mental side of things too. And they are. It's destroying the mental side of people because of the fact that they're trying to figure out how they're going to make it, how they're going to survive and be able to hold themselves up. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Um, Blackwatch, good to see you, brother. Been a while. Um, you know, and the thing is that that's not what everybody wants. I wish I could give you an answer as to when's this going to end. I wish I could. I wish I had the date. If I'll tell you this right now, okay, and I'll pull a Bible out and swear on it. If I ever find out what the day is that this is going to end, I will tell you. Okay. Um, I'll tell you that it'll end on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday or a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday. I'm just not going to tell you which Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. No, Mr. Sciatica, it cannot go that long. It cannot go that long. Because honestly, in my personal opinion, I don't think that there's going to be an election in November. I don't. I do not think that there's going to be one. But I'm prepared if there is. I know who I'm voting for. I know why I'm voting for him. And I know why I'm not voting for all the other guys. You know, um, and it's way too important to focus and and I know how depressing oh topic after topic after topic it's it can be extremely depressing. Black Watch, as far as I know, yes. But I wouldn't quote me on that because it I just I have this really weird feeling because I think he's at Camp David now, uh, preparing to preparing for the debate. Um, so I, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I'm hoping so. Hey, Trump would be a one man could be a one man you know uh, debate by himself. You know, just take questions town hall style and answer the questions. You know, that would uh, that would be good. Except for I don't care for the fact that CNN is in this because we all know where the news media stands. Okay, and the thing is, I do play a lot of stuff from Fox only because of the fact that they are they're slipping truths in. Particular news anchors are slipping things in, kind of like what Tucker was doing. Okay, they're slipping things in. So Jesse Waters, I do play quite a few clips from him. Um, but you notice I stay away from almost all the news channels other than that. Because of the fact, unless it's an event that's going on now, you know, and I'll have some prime examples in today's presentation. You know, what I mean by stuff that's going on. Um, and you know, so when I look at all of this and I try to rationalize why this is happening and why this is happening, why this person's allowed to get away with doing this while this person isn't allowed to do anything at all, just it really just kind of brings me to the brink of saying is I just really don't see an election happening in November. I don't see it. I told you guys about the dream that I had about Judge Clarence Thomas coming on to TV, doing a press conference on the steps of the Supreme Court with all the other judges behind him, and basically what he said in the dream was that they reviewed all the materials from all 50 states in regards to in regards to election fraud. They found that there was 100% fraud in all 50 states, and therefore Joe Biden was to be removed, and Donald Trump would get his 4 years. You know, and he actually in the dream referred to it as he stated what Donald Trump said, and he kind of like used a quotation kind of thing. You know, he said Donald Trump said that if you rob a jewelry store and you get caught, do you get to keep the diamonds? No, you don't. The diamonds have to be returned. So the 4 years that Trump lost due to the fraud are going to be given back. Okay. And then it was very intricate, very short and crisp dream, but it was productive in my mind because I had already been questioning as to what were they going to do to try and interfere with the election coming up in November. You know, I mean, because if you look at things the way they are right now, you've got the majority of Americans already saying that Joe Biden has lost his flipping mind and they're not voting for him. You know, so either they got to find a way to sneak one in. And Q told us that they're going to try and sneak. How do you sneak one in? Q asked that question. You know, there were a couple of different things. How do you introduce evidence? Okay. The way that you introduce evidence is you have a court case and you introduce evidence through the court case. Okay. Pretty simple, right? Okay. But then you look at the trial there in New York, and did he get to introduce any evidence? No. Everything that his lawyers brought was turned down. Judge Merchan, the crook of New York, the crooked judge of New York, okay, went against his constitutional rights to introduce evidence in a trial. And, we see what happened. Now he's convicted of 34 felonies. Well, I'm voting for that felon. I'm voting for that felon. Don't like that? Don't care. I don't care. I don't care about your fucking opinion. I'm not really sure as to does he get to serve 2 more terms. Not sure about that. I do know that there have been presidents who have served more than 2 terms. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, the maximum was 4. If I'm not mistaken, Roosevelt served 4 terms as president. So and this is the thing is if the president's presidential position has term limits on it, then I think that those same term limits should apply to Senate and the Congress as well. 100%. Now, even with where the Supreme Court is concerned, I don't think that their seats should be for life. I don't. I don't think the position should be for as long as they are alive. They're a sitting member of, of the Supreme Court. Because the longer that people are in these positions, the more chances that they have of becoming corrupted. I mean, it used to be people got involved in politics because they wanted to affect change in their communities or in their states or for the country. And now it's about how much wealth can they acquire while they're there. Thank you, Chessboard. He says, yeah, it's Roosevelt was the only president to serve more than 2 terms. So, yeah. And Mikey B, I'm right there with you. I'm all in on President Donald J. Trump. I'm all in. I'm looking at how the world is today, and I'm watching mothers and fathers struggling to provide. Okay. Really struggling to provide because of the way that, the way that the economy is today. It's almost impossible. It really is. It's just it's too much, and this isn't the way we're supposed to be living. Yes, we all understand now that we have been slaves to this government for over 100 years. We've been a slave to the controllers of this world for a lot longer than that. But we're waking up to their games. We're waking up to the fact of the shenanigans that they have been pulling, making themselves rich while driving the rest of the population to a point of insanity. It doesn't take much time after a person loses their home to turn to drugs and alcohol to sedate their mind and make them forget how much they're suffering on the street. And then that in turn reflects back to, if they have children, reflects back to those children. And those children are now in that same in that same system. We see illegals being taken care of in VAs, and veterans left sitting in chairs, getting no care, or told that we can't see you. You'll have to come back in 3 months, 4 months. Some of these guys need life-saving, literal life-saving medicines, and they're not getting them. How far do we let this go? When do Americans say, you know what? Enough is enough. Enough is enough is enough is enough is enough. And we're at it. So I want to talk to you about 3 kinds of people. And this one is for all root people. Not rude, root. 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 Let's go ahead and jump into my X feed. Let's do this.
Only 3 types of people in your life. First are the leaf people who come into your life just for a season. They are there to take what they need, and as soon as it gets cold, or a wind blows in your life, they are gone. Second are the branch people. Although they are stronger than leaves, you have to test them out before you run out there and put all your weight on them. They may stay with you for a few seasons, but they will break away when life becomes tough. And finally, the root people. These people are very important because they don't do things to be seen. Their only wish is to support you and help you live a strong and healthy life. And even if you go through a difficult time, they will hold you up. They love you, just the way you are. There are only
three types of people: leaf, branch, or root. And it's up to you guys to decide what kind of people you put in your life. That choice is 100% yours. I thought you guys might like that. I thought you might like it. Maybe you did. Maybe you did. Maybe you're offended. I don't know. I'm so over people being offended. Let's see. All right. I think I'm getting close. Okay. I think that's where I left off yesterday. Okay. So let's jump in. Don Keith says this clip is crazy. A shocking recount of election fraud from a 2020 poll challenger who witnessed it in Detroit, Michigan. Check out my full interview with Patrick Kolbeck, CFO of MyPillow USA, on the Rumble video. And I can drop that link if anybody wants to see that. But this is a clip from that.
Center and dropped off tens of thousands of ballots without any chain of custody whatsoever. They could have came from Tom, Dick, and Harry. We had no idea. I was present when those vans came up at the back of the TCS Center and dropped off tens of thousands of ballots without any chain of custody whatsoever. They could have came from Tom, Dick, and Harry. We had no idea where these came from. They popped it in. I was here. I'm a certified Microsoft small business specialist, in addition to being former vice chair of the Michigan Senate Elections and Government Reform Committee. So I understand how our elections are supposed to be run. I also understand the technology behind it. And I was monitoring whether or not our machines were connected to the internet. And I'm telling you, they're connected to the internet. And every single election official that was out here was denying that they were connected to the internet. And the strange thing about that is it's not against the law to be connected to the internet. It just means you got to be held accountable for your chain of custody. And they didn't want to be held accountable. And I was here for the pizza boxes up on the windows, if you saw that. And the interesting thing about that is that they chose that time to count the military ballots. Mm-hmm. And I was, as a poll challenger, I was up training our next batch of poll challengers for what to expect down here. And when I came back down, I was barred from entry. And they picked that time very strategically because they were counting the military ballots. And we only had maybe 12 Republican poll challengers at the time to cover 134 AV counting boards. And the interesting thing about military ballots is that they've got to transform it from one format to another format. So they've actually got to translate the data on a ballot that was submitted by the military personnel onto another format that can be read by the machines.
So those of us who served in the military, did our votes actually go to where they were supposed to go to begin with? You know, did the votes that we cast while in the military and those that are in the military now actually go to the person that we actually voted for? Makes you wonder. Yeah. All right. Carly Bonet says, damn, America's officially South Park. Oh, here we go.
What the fuck is going on? I am embarrassed to let the entire world know that this is our leaders. Now, I know you all might be asking yourselves, is this an episode out of South Park? No, this is real. This is fucking real time. Meanwhile, countries like China, Russia, Africa, look at the fucking passion in their eyes. They ready to lay down their life for their country. They ain't bullshitting. They standing strong. Meanwhile, our fucking leaders is this bullshit right here. Who the fuck is this guy in the gold dress? Who? The motherfucker look like a crunchy black goldfish. Look at Harris. This motherfucker has been black for 4 years. Before that, she was classified as an Indian American. Now, in the last 4 years, she's now black. Speaking for all black people, that this is the most offbeat black person I've ever seen in my motherfucking life. He cannot be on rhythm with no song if her life depended on it. Who the fuck taught you how to dance? Not no black people. She don't know what's going on. He went down to Africa to try to preach that bullshit ABCLBLGK elemental P. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. Africa said, if you don't get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, you got until sundown. They don't want your Western ideology bullshit. Look at Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe, go to sleep, Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe makes you want to just fucking curse like Will Ferrell. Fuck shit, damn, fuck shit. Fuck, fucking shit. Who the fuck are these other people? Where is our strongness? Everybody looks softer than the fucking cotton swab. You got Kirk Frank on the motherfucking stage, switching his booty, driving his hips and shit. What the fuck is going on, man? What is this? Is this a joke? Or, I know some of y'all are gonna be like, well, move to China, move to Russia. That's not the fucking point. Our country should not be like this. We are supposed to be the most powerful country in the face of fucking earth. We're supposed to be taken serious. Now let me ask you all this. Looking at this picture, would you all take this shit serious?
If he was on panel with me right now, I would say, can you tell us how you really feel? All right. Check out the tank spotted in New Orleans. Any of my military followers care to weigh in?
Not even our tanks, look, they got other things on it. That's Switzerland.
You hear that? She said, that's Switzerland. Let me back it up here.
Look, they got other things on it. That's Switzerland.
Man, that's boo-boo fucking thing.
So later reports on that were there were approximately 700 tanks on 2 different trains that went through that area. You know, so all right, what's all the equipment movement about? You know, yeah. Yeah, Blackwatch says, shame that gentleman was so tongue-tied. Yeah, tell us how you really feel. Oh, yeah, it's crazy. So we got military equipment getting moved, and they do move equipment. You know, they do. They take stuff from the East Coast, move it to the West Coast, because it's easier and shorter to do that. To put it on ships on the West Coast to ship it out. I've seen that many times. Is that what's going on? Don't know. But I figured I would share it with you. All right, we're going to go into a my lunch break. Yeah, you guys like this guy. He puts out some great content. Says all money is brand new. And that's a big question mark at the end of that. Today, we explore the possibility that all currencies have been created within our brand new timeline. Let's check it out.
So we know this group began in 1717. We know that all of these inventions, the car, the train, the plane, all of it, came within the last 200 years. We know that these great fires all over the world happened in the 1800s and took basically nobody's life. We know that the population spiked around the 1800s from basically nobody to billions of people in just the last 200 years, where we are starting to pin the start date of our current timeline down. Because today, we're taking this research a step further. Today, we are looking into the money. On April 2nd, 1792, the U.S. Congress passed the Mint Act, which was the beginning of the dollar. It was also the first country in the world to adopt the decimal system for currency. And now when we go over to the UK and see that they also started to use the British pound in 1707, making it the official currency of the UK when England and Scotland united to form a single country. Even China making a brand new currency in 1948. This new currency was introduced in 1948, taking over the previous currency, which was introduced in 1889. All of these currencies, all starting within the last 300 years worldwide, where we can go to Russia and see that their currency also begins in 1704. So apparently, in the 1600s, nobody had any money, and yet we are told that they were knocking out palaces all over the world. I think we're seeing that our timeline really began right around 1700. I think this is when all of the structural things, like governments, banks, the foundation of our civilization, I think this is when it all began. And this is all based on what we're being told, the dates that they provide us, the information that we are given using their data. So we have the top 10 banks in the world based on market cap, with JP Morgan at number 1, with a start date of 1871. Bank of America, starting in 1922. Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, started in 1984. Now we have shown that so much has started within the last 300 years. Everything that we have today that is a part of our civilization has been introduced within the last 300 years. And at the exact same time, right when we get the USA, right when we get these banks, these currencies, right when all this happens, this is the exact point in time that our civilization sees a massive spike in population. At no other point in time have humans repopulated at this rate of 66% increase every 69 years. Billions of people at a rapid pace, according to the mainstream narrative. We are told that we're at our peak right now. We are the most advanced civilization ever. We have the most technology. We have the most amount of people, when this is simply not true, in my opinion. I believe that we have been given all of this technology back. I've said this before, but it is so true. I believe that our civilization is as advanced as we're allowed to be. We see these inventions just flying at us in the 1800s. Cars, phones, TVs, electricity, planes, you name it. When you're in charge of controlling an entire civilization, 300 years is nothing. To us, the 1800s were a long time ago, but in reality, this is nothing. We are being told that AI is a brand new thing, when it has, in my opinion, been here a very long time. And if we're being shown AI, could you imagine what else is not being shown to us? Thinking logically and using the information that we're provided, in my opinion, we are pinning this narrative down. We are finding our civilization's beginning point. And the more people that see this, the more people that understand this information, the more people that we have researching and looking for the truth, the probability of us finding the truth about our past becomes more and more eminent. All of this explains why we have buildings sitting in all of our cities and most of our towns that don't fit into our timeline. They don't look anything like the way we build today. And the only way to explain it logically is that an advanced civilization was here before us that fully understood how to create massive palaces. And it was a civilization that was worldwide. We see these cathedrals and basilicas in every single continent. It's not like it was just limited to a single location. This was a worldwide understanding, and something massive happened to them. And right around 1700, our civilization began occupying this land, with their work looking us straight in the face. Welcome to episode 65 of My Lunch Break. I hope you're all having a great day, and if you're new, welcome. And I want to thank all of our sponsors over on Patreon. Thank you to FlatEarthDave.com. You can check out his app. I'll put the link in the description, and you can use my referral code, MLB. He also has my lunch break on the homeschool section of the app, which is really cool. Thank you to Rebecca K, Don Gaston, Christopher Arietta, The Lady Lacey Show, David and Sherry Ferguson, Edwin Johnson, Chuck Templeton, Joy Lee, PNR, Stephanie Nolan, The Burlesons, Suez KC, Dan Woodall, Dale, DJ Clicktrack, Edward and Brianna, Jacob Law, Jim Ribley and Christine Duggan, Kyle Glascock, Tim Rack, William Richard Jeffries V, BKTFnews.org, Regna Saturna, 3D6 Scott Space, Attila Power, Buck Suey, Dakota Dunn, Eric Martinez, Ivan Apocoli, Jesse De Leon, Jim Bro, Kit Kat, Todd K, Edwin Rice, Helmut, Charles Kruger, Daniel Zid,
David, Glenn Gunderson, Pacific Crafted, Z-Dub Custom, HackerTshirts.com, Meta, Jason Hochberg, Blake, Jessica, Alex and Cypress, Carla Fitzgerald, Natalie Shipmanoff, Reed C, Roy Schoenholtz, Wayne T, Sirius Feline, Ryan and Laney Benner, Isaac Wright, Melissa Edgar, James Hall, Dan McGee, Vince Marino, Samir Schwery, Stony Stargott, Roz Matthews, Shiba Shabba in the Darkness, Dendrise NL, Joanna Mesher, G Pow, The Golden Teacher.co, Albie is awesome, Rick Tapke, The Arnolds, and VKH Bonner. You guys are all awesome and helping this channel out.
In episode 64, we were looking into Budapest, and we found this character that was building palaces at 23 years old, winning contests for massive parliament buildings, where Budapest had so many master palace architects that they didn't even need to use the winner's design. Mr. Hausman was pinned to a lot of buildings, like we have shown, but we need to officially close the book on this guy. We've covered the New York Palace in Budapest, which is now a 185-room palace hotel and cafe. They tell us that this building opened up in 1894 as the headquarters for the New York Life Insurance Company, where life insurance is yet another thing that starts right up in 1706. The first company to ever offer life insurance was founded in London, 1706, 1 year before the British pound became the official currency of the UK. At this point, it is becoming incredibly evident that something massive happened at this point in time. It's just one thing after the next. And if all of this wasn't true, then the mainstream narrative would have given us something major that was created in the 1500s by now. A single company from the 1400s. You would think that there would be some sort of progression over time, that something would still be here from the 1500s. It's not mathematically probable that every single invention, all the money, billions of people, all of it comes in a matter of 300 years. And before this, basically nobody rode around on donkeys and lived by candlelight, writing with duck feathers, yet knocked out massive castles and basilicas. It doesn't add up at all. Everything was given back to us starting around this date of 1700, where in my opinion, they were laying the groundwork, the foundation of our new civilization, and our new civilization was being formed. And then after it was all situated and they had control over all the major things that a controller would want to be in control of, governments and laws, financial institutions, insurance companies, taxes, and the rest. After this was done, the okay was given to start repopulating this place again. And 300 years later, here we all are. Now, before we take this research to the next level, let's take a minute and thank all of our badge members, all of our Patreons, and every single subscriber. You are all awesome in helping grow this channel to reach new people every single week. And this is becoming clearer and clearer by the episode. When we take a look at inflation, where it basically follows the exact same chart that the world population does when we have nothing going on before the 1700s and then just takes off, I think we have located the beginning point of our current civilization based on math and information that they have provided us, where there's nothing. And out of nowhere in 1700, everything is created and billions of people just come out of nowhere. Inventions all over the place, with wars to confuse people, demoralize the ones involved, and destroy massive cities that give it all away. Where, according to the data provided, people reproduce at basically 66% growth every 69 years. And this is documented. So what was going on in the 1200s? Well, according to the mainstream narrative, everybody stayed away from each other. Nobody wanted kids, apparently. For hundreds and thousands of years, the population was basically nobody. And then the 1700s hit, and all of a sudden, humans want to repopulate at a rate that's never been seen before. It's not even close, where it goes from nobody to billions of people in just a few hundred years, when we know that this is the rate in which humans repopulate. And they know this as well. And when you wipe the population out, humans will repopulate at this rate yet again. And through the first 64 episodes, we have so many different things that show that this is the case, basically proving that there have been previous civilizations. And at this point, it wouldn't be shocking at all if it was over 100 billion people and they were extremely advanced, a community that can't see until the savior, Benjamin, comes around, where 63.7% of people need glasses today. And I'm just going to take a guess and say that the 1200s people didn't have 20/20 vision either. meaning that they also needed glasses, but we were told they didn't have them. And they also didn't have a light bulb. So no lights, no glasses. Could you imagine this group of people in the 1200s, where we are told that they built Buddha Castle, stumbling around at night with no glasses and no lights, yet getting palaces done no problem at all, and not a single mistake anywhere. Over 100 feet in the air, perfectly put together by people that can't see. A community that supposedly didn't even create the pencil for another 500 years. But Buddha castles are no problem at all, where in the future, we can even show that the oldest prison in the USA was built in 1720, where you might say, yeah, that's because the USA was formed in 1776. And then we go over to England, and the first state prison in England was the Millbank Prison, established in 1816. And 8 years later, in 1824, 54 other prisons had formed and adopted this system. And we will have an episode fully dedicated to this in the very near future. I found some other things that I thought you all might enjoy. So let's start the bonus. The St. Paul St. Louis, which is a church located in Paris, France, with construction beginning in 1627. Beginning in 1627. 397 years ago, in a time period that we have shown, according to the mainstream narrative, had just a little over no people, yet able to knock out the Buddha Castle and massive palaces. It was the booming 1600s, before all currencies. They just decided they would just go trade a donkey or two for some limestone. They would give the architect a pineapple for his skills. And this was completed in 1641, perfectly. They give us this story that we've seen so often, where the first church on the exact same site was built around 1125, 899 years ago. And they give us a story of a chemist that gets guillotined just to make us think that they know all about the backstory of these buildings, where we have shown in episode 33, when you just email them about a building that was built in the 1900s, they have no clue who built it. These narratives are story hour, in my opinion. They hold zero truth. They are as trustworthy as a child's bedtime story, where we are told that there was a cemetery connected to this first church, the one that was built 900 years ago. And then the cemetery just disappeared, and the old church was demolished in 1799 because they just needed an upgrade in 1799. And here's another one of those situations where we have these reoccurring names with these stories, where we've seen all the Fredericks in episode 43. But here they give the reoccurring names in a different way. When they say Louis the Ninth and Louis the Eighth, where I understand that this is possible, but we've seen it so many times. The reoccurring names are, in my opinion, exposing that these stories were created by an AI generator. It throws the same name right into the story over and over. It's a pattern, and the AI works on patterns, where if a human wrote this story, they would just make up a new name. And I think this is why we see so many people named Henry the Ninth in these narratives from hundreds of years ago. I think it's a code. They could just say Henry the 30th, and nobody would ever question it. Just accepting this narrative for years, when I think it's clearly a key to look deeper into these stories, these buildings and castles surrounding these characters. So the city supposedly grew too big and the chapel was replaced, where they know that Louis VIII laid the cornerstone. And when you know, you know. The building's original name holds Mason Jesuits. The architect of the new church was the Jesuit priest. So now we are made to believe that the 1600s priests were also master architects. This was the first church in Paris to stop using the Gothic style and now use the Baroque style, when the famous Jesuit preacher preached some of his memorable sermons in the church. All documented, of course? No. So my question is, who is this Jesuit priest architect that just knocks out palaces in the 1600s that lasts forever? We are told that he was born in 1569 and had two brothers who both became Jesuits as well. Almost nothing is known about his early life. Nothing. It's a big mystery, just like the mainstream narrative likes it. But don't worry, They know all about every other detail of the rest of his life. Joining the Jesuit order in 1590, when he was 21, this group, the Jesuits, established themselves in France in the 1560s, but were banned in 1595 after attempting to kill Henry IX. But that's okay, because they let him back in 8 years later. So this master architect, he wasn't even the best one, where he would supposedly draw up all these kinds of buildings, no problem at all, and send them back to a superior general that would have to approve them. So we're supposed to believe a time period where we're told that the population was like 10 people. They also had all kinds of people just waiting around to draw up palaces. And some guy was sitting in his chair throwing master designs in the no pile. How ridiculous does this sound? Now, of course, when they pin a guy to one building, there are always so many more. Here's the first one, which is still in use today. Built this one, and then he also supposedly built the Blois Cathedral, a cathedral that also had multiple buildings. The first one started in the 1100s. However, nothing is left of the original structure. It's just gone. And the next one starts 450 years later. Of course it does. When this one is destroyed by a storm, they get back to work in the 1680s. And then the Americans' bombardment during World War II destroys most of the glasswork in the cathedral. When we know that this sounds like there was something on the glass that told a story, possibly things that would give something away about our past, things that we're not supposed to see. Thinking logically, why would the glass be broken and everything else is fine? It sounds to me like these people just went in there and broke the glass and replaced it with the new narrative. What better way to do this than to just chalk it up to a war?
He has a very interesting take on these old structures and stuff, and I think it's personally I like the way he does it. All right, I'm going to give you your giggle of the day. It's going to be another sweaty hot one. Listen closely. Here we go. It's only 11 seconds long, so it's going to be a short laugh that might last a little while. Here we go.
I'm sweaty. Where? What? I'm sweaty. Where at? On my butt crack and my balls and really? Everywhere. Oh, butt crack in your balls.
From the mouth of babes comes true wisdom. Right? Sometimes you just gotta have. All right. Shipwreck says, I don't pick fights on TikTok much anymore, but Scott D. Henry needs to stay in his lane. Here we go.
Is it just me? I really hope I'm not alone in this, but is idolizing and worshiping a politician from any party the strangest behavior that you could ever see?
Sure the fuck is, Scott D. Henry.
Listen, you should be voting for President Donald Trump, 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 Donald.
Fucking weird as hell. Hey Scott, do you remember when Roe versus Wade was overturned and you made a big TikTok scaring the shit out of your 3.1 million followers who are women, telling them that we're all gonna die because they weren't allowed to have abortion, acting like it was a total ban throughout the whole United States, when in actual reality the decisions were just left up to the state? Do you remember when myself and some other people had made videos about it correcting your behavior, but you didn't do anything but block the majority of us? Pepperidge Farm remembers. That was an account or two ago, though. Glad you're out here still shilling your ass off. Stay in your lane, Scott D. Henry. Stop acting like you know.
Yep. Stay in your lane, boy. Stay in your lane. And the thing is that kid gets paid by the Democratic Party, and he doesn't he doesn't release information in regards to that. And that's the thing is, if you have a party affiliation, party's paying for it, you have to state it, you know. So eventually that kid, Harry Sisson, is going to, going to learn the hard way. Yeah. Here's one from Wall Street Papes. Here we go.
You know what I am just sick and fucking tired of is all of this liberal fucking nonsense being shoved in my face, and then people trying to say that you're this phobic and that phobic if you don't agree with it. I'm pretty in the middle politically, and I think that the government should stay out of our shit and just let people live how they want to. But it is whenever the government and these big corporations force their ideologies and their way of thinking into my life that it starts to annoy the shit out of me. Like, I was watching the show The Witcher recently, and there's a character named Yasker. He's one of the main characters, and he ended up being gay in the show. In the books, he is not gay. Like, why is that fucking necessary? Just make a good TV show and good movies. But I will tell you right now why it's necessary. Go look at the Oscar nomination requirements. Like, I saw an article one time on Snapchat, and it was called 5 Signs You Might Be Gay and Not Know It. Like, what are you trying to do with that? Are you trying to convince young, impressionable kids, maybe a young kid that's a little bit more feminine, that he's gay? Let him figure out his shit on his own. It's like, I personally do not give a fuck if you are gay or trans or think you're a dog or a platypus or some shit. They are literally creating their own enemies by doing this because they take people like me that are just neutral and don't give a fuck and get sick and tired of all of this shit being shoved down their throat every second. And then they take out their anger on the groups of people, which is also wrong. And on the other hand, people that do not want to be constantly exposed to that shit every time they open up their damn phone shouldn't have to either. Some people call it inclusion. I call it creating more division between people.
And he makes some very valid points. Yep. Joe M says, have you considered that your purpose in life might be to aid in the destruction of evil? I think that's a pretty fair question, honestly. Let me see if I can make these bigger. Can I make? Yeah, I can make it bigger. All right. Yeah. Have you considered that your purpose in life might be to aid in the destruction of evil? What is one of the things that we've talked about so many times, okay, is that a lot of us believe that we are here for this time intentionally, that we were sent here to experience the lives and the situations, issues, traumas, everything that we've gone through in our lives in order to hold the fabric of humanity together during this period of time. You know, mental gymnastics, right? Think about it. You know, the term mental gymnastics, okay, means your brain goes into so many different positions and theories and running around and everything else and doing flips and everything. And we go through these gymnastics in order to try and figure out exactly what direction we personally need to go into, each of us individually. Okay. And it's not an easy feat, it's like politicians. Okay. I don't trust any politician. Okay. But at the same time, I don't trust any news anchor. I don't trust any weather person. I don't trust my government. I don't trust all my neighbors because they've shown me things, but that's those you see because they're in your viewpoint every day. Right? Okay. So a lot of times we form our opinions of our neighbors based upon, actualization. What we perceive, what we see them do. Okay. Prime example, I lived in a neighborhood in Portland where I saw a lot of people going into the garage of they they'd go and knock on the door. They'd see a guy at the door, and then they'd go in the side door of the garage, and then they would leave, hands in their pockets, and they're going as quickly as they can up the road. Now, if you saw that, you would probably think the same way that I did. Oh, well, he just bought some drugs. So you form your opinion about the neighbor. Okay. And again, it's a form of mental gymnastics. Okay. You've got to make a medical decision. Say, for instance, somebody in your family you just found out that they have diabetes, right? Okay. And so when you're looking at all the different medical things going on, all the different medications available, you're going through a mental gymnastic trying to figure out the best course of action to deal with your reaction to this person, testing positive or testing whatever for diabetes. Okay. Same thing with cancer, same thing with HIV and AIDS, same thing with COVID. You go through a mental gymnastics. Now, the thing is we are at a point in our lives watching everything that's going on that the mental gymnastics are a lot more controlled because we have relearned how to research. We've realized that if our gut is telling us something's not good, then it's not good. Okay. The heart can deceive, the mind can deceive, but your gut's always going to know the best course of action. So we have to look at that. We have to recognize that these mental gymnastics that we're going through put us in a place where it makes us combative to the opposite agenda. Okay, I mean, look at the things that we see going on, the pride things and everything else. To me, Pride Month should be our pride in our country. Our pride in our communities, our pride in our children and their accomplishments. Proud of our pets for succeeding at maybe some type of training, and all these things. These are the things that I look at and I say to myself, it doesn't take a whole lot of mental gymnastics in order to bring us to this point. But the mental gymnastics that we have experienced throughout our lives tells me that each and every one of us here today is here because we chose to be sent here during this period of time in order to bring down evil. Will we defeat it once and for all? I'm not sure. I like to believe that we could. I like to believe that we are capable of doing exactly that, but you never know. It's just, yeah, Tammy, yeah, yep. That's a good point. She says, nope, their pride is in telling God he was wrong. I don't think God makes mistakes. That's my personal opinion. I don't think God makes mistakes. Now, does he allow us to go through trials and tribulations? Absolutely. You know, that's where you know, it doesn't matter about the color of their skin, but the content of their character. Well, think about how God, our creator, looks at us and says, you know, okay, well, I need to test your character. I need to know if you're up for the task. I need to know if you are capable of teaching my other children. And I'm not talking about school educators. I'm talking about like what we're doing today. Okay. You know, it's all one step at a time. But I believe that we are here intentionally in order to help facilitate the destruction of evil that is going on around us. And to teach our children about what not to do to never be in this situation ever again. You know, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over, thinking that you're going to get a different reaction. Well, that's exactly what they're doing. They're doing the exact same thing over and over and over, hoping to get a different reaction. And it's not working. All right. So nailed it, says Sassafras. It's infuriating that our government could have fixed everything, and that our country would be doing well. Our citizens would be doing well. They don't want that. They want to keep us poor and in financial chains. We are slaves to the system. This is a clip from Older Millennial. Here we go.
Y'all recognize that we have enough money to solve every problem we have here in America. Like every fucking one of them. Like I could go into all the wasteful spending our government does every year. If you want me to make that video, please let me know. I'm happy to make it. But for this example, let's just look at the $175 billion we spent on Ukraine. Do y'all know how much it would cost to rebuild all of Lahaina? To rebuild brand new every single thing that was there and all the stuff they want in the area that burned down in Hawaii. They estimate it would cost about $5 billion. Which I know $5 billion is a lot of fucking money, but it's not when you consider the fact we sent $175 billion to Ukraine. Like I think we all know Flint's got some fucked up water. Do you know it would only cost $600 million to fix that? And if we wanted to replace all the bad piping all throughout the country, that would only cost about $2 billion. And look, I understand $600 million and $2 billion is a lot of money, but it's not when you consider the fact that we're spending $175 billion on Ukraine. Do you know how much it would cost to end all homelessness in America? They estimate about $20 billion. And look, I recognize $20 billion is a lot of money, but it's not when you consider the fact we're sending $175 billion to Ukraine. We have the money to solve all of our problems. We could live in a utopian society with no fucking issues whatsoever if our politicians would just keep our money here. And we all know this is true. So why the fuck do we continue to allow our government to ignore what we need and spend our money somewhere else?
That's a very good question. You think about all that money going to Ukraine, how much that could have affected major changes in our own country. Yep. Just yeah. Hey, Buff, good to see you, brother. I saw your comment on X. Unfortunately, I can't pull up that chat to talk to you at the time that that this is going on. So Wall Street Babes puts out, and while Idaho farmers are having their water shut off, look what's happening in Arizona. Here we go.
We're out here in the middle of the Arizona desert during one of the worst mega droughts of the past 1,200 years. So you might be surprised to know that a Saudi Arabian-owned company is being allowed to use these pumps to pump unlimited amounts of groundwater to irrigate farm fields in the desert and grow one of the most water-intensive crops there is, alfalfa. So what is this company doing with all of this alfalfa? Well, they're putting it on trucks, and they put it on trains, and they put it on ships, and they send it back to the Middle East. So why are they growing these crops out here in Arizona instead of back home? Well, it's illegal to grow a crop like alfalfa in Saudi Arabia because it uses too much water. The Attorney General of Arizona says this is an outrage. She says this is scandalous, and she's trying to get these leases, which are on state-owned land, canceled so this will stop happening. She says that these foreign-owned companies should not be allowed to operate here in Arizona, especially now that water is such a precious.
Yeah. So, you know, and this much I can tell you, what he states about alfalfa is correct. Alfalfa requires more water than I think alfalfa requires even more water than hay requires, and hay doesn't require, um, you know, a super substantial amount. But the alfalfa side of it does, especially knowing that in the off seasons, okay, or off years, in most cases, they'll come in after they do hay, they'll take and they'll plant alfalfa for a season in order to help to reconstitute the soil. So that certain certain elements that are in the soil are used up by the alfalfa, and then when the soil is tossed, then it's perfect for the hay again. Now, if you're a rancher or a farmer that knows more about this stuff than I do, you can just put in the chat as to whether I'm close to accurate on my assumption on this, but it seems that way. That's the reason that they do it, is to offset the soils and prepare it for a better hay season the next year. I could be wrong, but I think I'm close to being spot on. I've never grown hay myself or alfalfa, so I've grown a lot of weeds though. A lot of weeds. Yeah. So Raw's Alerts put out, breaking: the NYPD has issued a level 3 mobilization as police converge on Randall Island Park due to a reportedly large and uncontrolled crowd at the migrant shelter. And they were making arrests. So people just act out acting stupid. So level 3 response is pretty much, what, 90% of the police force, if I'm not mistaken, level 3. And that's kind of crazy. So yesterday I showed you guys a thing about that James O'Keefe put out in regards to some issues going on at the Disney headquarters. So James O'Keefe was out trying to find out if he can get in to meet with, I believe it's Robert Iger. I believe he's stepping down, isn't gone yet. But I've heard there's rumor that he's stepping down. Whether that's true or not, I haven't seen anything to confirm or deny either which way. But it was kind of funny, James's interaction with employees during his period of time out there yesterday.
Do you guys work there? You wanted to talk to us?
I'm sorry? Everything okay?
No, not everything's okay.
Okay, do you want to share anything with me or anything?
Do I want to share something with you?
Yeah, just...
There's a massive story coming out inside your company.
So they're very careful about messaging because they don't want to get to discrimination in either direction. But certainly there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white house person.
Just kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
How would they say it?
there's no way we're hiring our white helmets.
We're doing a story about Disney's discrimination against people on the basis of race.
So tell me about you.
What's that?
Tell me about you.
Tell me about me? What do you want to know?
What about the story?
More about the story about me.
You.
Hi, guys. Do you know what the code words are for the discriminatory hiring practices? Do you work in HR? Can we speak with the CEO?
No, unfortunately, you cannot.
How do you know?
Because he usually does appointments only.
He might want to take this meeting.
All right, I advise you to contact him through emailing or online, but I can't let you guys in right now. I'm sorry.
He can't let us in. You want to know about me or about the story?
Let's hear about you.
About me. My name's James.
Hey, James.
What's
I'm Matthew.
Matthew, nice to see you. Yeah. Have you heard of James O'Keefe or O'Keefe Media?
Is that you?
Yeah.
I haven't.
No? We do the investigative undercover videos and exposing all the big companies.
What media company is this with?
I don't know. Would it make a difference?
Just out of curiosity.
Is it a curious? Did they tell you to ask that question?
I'd like to know.
Just you personally? Just you personally?
Yeah.
You personally want to know? You work for Disney?
Yeah.
Oh. Have you heard of OMG, James O'Keefe?
No.
We'll reach out via email and we'll try to come back when we get the appointment.
Okay, that'd be the way to go.
Okay.
I will thank you.
Okay. We'll be back. We'll be back on Friday.
What is your affiliation? Are you guys with like Project Veritas or anything?
I'm the founder.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm James O'Keefe.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
O'Keefe Media. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that?
I am a little bit familiar with that, yeah.
Oh, wow. What do you think about that?
Well, I can't really share my own personal.
You can't share. They don't give you a First Amendment at Disney?
Well, I'm on the clock still, so if we want to talk after, that's fine too, but
okay.
Yeah, let me get
Would
in
they
touch
fire
with-
you if I guess they'd fire you if you said you were a fan of mine.
I don't know.
Check in BlackRock.
BlackRock, we did that last year.
Oh, check it out.
Yeah, check it out. Thank you. Some people are rather nice. He wanted me to check out BlackRock. Maybe we have fans inside Disney, right?
Now it's going to be a requirement on all applications. Are you a fan of O'Keefe Media Group or Project Veritas? Oh, that's going to be good. All right, here's one from Jesse Waters on Fox. Here we go.
No one is above the law. No matter how rich, powerful, or politically connected you are.
Our job is to follow the facts and the law without fear or favor.
The fact is, no one is above the law.
No one, not even the president, is above the law.
Democrats have used that phrase to rationalize abusing the justice system to prosecute Trump for their own political gain. But it turns out lots of people are actually above the law in the eyes of Democrats. Remember Meatball, the Philly rioter who live streamed herself in a massive smash and grab last year?
Everybody must eat. Everybody must eat. Everybody must eat. Record this. Record this. Keep your phones out. Free iPhones. Free iPhones. Free iPhones.
Despite recording herself in the heart of a mob inciting looting, Philly's radical DA, Larry Krasner, and Democrat Judge Zach Schaffer left Meatball off with probation. Just a slap on the wrist for burglary, rioting, criminal mischief, and the oh-so-endearing color commentary of the crime spree she filmed. After Rubik's cubing a case that's never been brought in the history of the American criminal justice system to bring down Trump, Alvin Bragg just dropped charges against 30 Columbia Arab Spring breakers who broke into a campus building and took hostages. College jihadis smashed their way into private property, destroyed security cameras like professionals, held 2 janitors against their will, and caused thousands of dollars in damage. Bragg couldn't figure out a way, as creative as we know he is with the law, to prosecute these people. And Connecticut's Secretary of State isn't ashamed of Wanda the Stuffer, who not only was caught on camera stuffing, but was just charged with voter fraud and witness intimidation. She says Wanda's just a nice lady who helps people vote.
It's not an embarrassment. Several of them told us stories like, oh, yes, I believe in voting. I requested it. I filled it out. And then there's a nice lady who comes by and drops them off for us. They just saw it as a convenience. So the voter themselves, they were not disenfranchised in any way. But the person who picked them up broke the law.
From BLMers to Antifa, from deranged homeless addicts to illegal aliens, Democrats finagle immunity for their squad while they throw the book at Republicans like Trump, Good Samaritans like Daniel Penny, and others who are just trying to defend themselves. America First legal founder and former senior advisor to President Trump, Stephen Miller, is here. Miller, we've always had corrupt, ambitious prosecutors, but we've never had ones that are working with the full support of the national media and the national party, and they've just become political crusaders with the power to imprison.
Yes, we now live in a time in which the left in this country has fully embraced communist lawfare. They cheered Alvin Bragg shredding the Constitution, shredding every precedent that has existed for 2.5 centuries to try to rig this election. They celebrated and cheered the judge in this case being a public-facing Biden anti-Trump donor. This is a great thing, we were told. What courage the man has to so publicly embrace his deep hatred of all things Trump while presiding over the trial. God forbid the man be neutral. We see just in recent days, a doctor has been arrested by Biden's DOJ for blowing the whistle on the mutilation of innocent children in the name of trans radicalism. We have seen the same prosecutor in New York free 30 people engaged in Jew hatred. Because I guess Jews are fair game to the Democrat Party. No problem there, especially if you hate America too. Example after example. BLM, no jail. Antifa, no jail. Attack the White House. If there's a Republican in there, no jail. But if you're an innocent Republican, they will do everything they can to put you in jail for life. And one more thing, let's not forget. The most above the law of all the illegal aliens being dumped into this country by the millions as they rape and pillage and murder. They kill 12-year-old girls, 13-year-old girls, 14-year-old girls. And are we rounding them up and deporting all these illegals? No, Joe Biden's flying them in day after day, busing them in, escorting them in to rape and pillage and murder more Americans. That's the system we're living in now, Jesse.
Miller's shot out of a cannon on a Friday night. I pray for anybody who runs into him this evening.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, boy. It just keeps coming. Where did eels come from? Out of this world, you never know. Here we go.
Eels might be aliens, and I'm about to play a clip from Elon Musk where he talks about it. So scientists have been fascinated by eels for the longest time, and one thing that astounds them is they can't figure out how they reproduce. All of them in North America, Europe, they all swim to the Bermuda Triangle, and then they come out with babies.
So, did you know that eels are the only animals in the world that we have no idea where they came from? Like the weird fish in the oceans. Scientists have done observations of them, and eels during a specific time in the year, regardless of where they are, will literally all travel to the Bermuda Triangle, and that's where they link up. No matter where they are from, Europe, the freshwater rivers of the United States. When it's time to mate, they just all go to the Bermuda Triangle, and it's dangerous for scientists to study them, so it's a bit hard, so we don't really know where they originate from. And the females and males have no reproductive organs, so how do they reproduce? Also, they did a test where they put the eels inside a bucket, and when it was time to mate, they all swam in the direction of the Bermuda Triangle. You know, how people have speculated octopuses being aliens, right? People think eels also might not be from here. And then the theory goes on to claim that there was a meteor that crashed in the Bermuda Triangle and allegedly crashed 65 million years ago, coincidentally, when the dinosaurs were gone.
As I was diving in deeper into this, it's not all eels. It's just the eels in North America and Europe, but it's still fascinating that they all go to the Bermuda Triangle. Even eels in Europe that are landlocked, right? Or they cannot swim naturally, they will go over land, crawl on their bellies to get to a water source where they can continue their course to the Bermuda Triangle. I don't know what to think about this, but that's weird. That is so weird.
Strange happenings. Strange questions. Here's a good point for you. It's real short. It's real to the point.
If we don't let athletes bet on games they have the ability to influence, why do we let Congress invest in companies they regulate?
We'll play it one more time.
If we don't let athletes bet on games they have the ability to influence, why do we let Congress invest in companies they regulate?
Yep. That's a good question. And that should be for every country, every single country worldwide. If you don't let your sports players bet on the games that they play in, then why do we let Congress or our governments invest in companies that are regulated by said government? You know, I'm just saying, people are making some seriously good points today, and it's going over the heads of so many people. It really is. I'm so glad you guys got your head on your shoulders. Okay. Now, we've talked quite a bit about Mike Gill and his thing, and Mike Gill is attacking Script Keeper, you know, and quite a few other podcasters, Dave being one of them. There was a thing the other day that the lady that he hangs out with did that they punched in Mike Gill's name into Give, Send, Go, and it came up. Dave's thing came up. Well, it came up because somebody put a comment in on a payment, a donation that went to Dave that said, "Can you pass this on to Mike Gill?" So if a name is put into your donation note, okay, basically, you know, telling the person what you'd like them to do with it, you know, then of course you type in a person's name, then it's going to come up like that. And you know, this is kind of interesting. Here we go.
Look what Mike Gill put. I fight for the patriots of the feds have infiltrated as they did with the podcasters. Who do you think they're stealing millions from? People? Script Keeper's a fraud too. Look at his page. All about you paying him. He's handled by Alvera and CIA. Now I work for the CIA. A rapper, he knows shit about shit. Bro, your 0 cases have you won, bro. 28 cases you brought to court and you've lost all of them. All of them, bro. You're a mirror of fucking pedo-galoosh. Here's Mike Gill again. Look what he said. Trump took a deal with the deep state to quit. Oh, does that look familiar? How about this one? Donate to fight like a Flynn pack. Trump quit. They all say this. It's the same. Remember this part right here. He doesn't silence his opponents. He shoves them into the spotlight and lets them destroy themselves. Look, Trump uses his complete and total endorsement to highlight the rhinos. He's showing you what his endorsements really mean. Another way it started, and I'm just grabbing screenshots here. So Crash, you guys know Crash, right? Is she stating Script is on the dark side, not causing conflict? I just want to know what is going on because I trust Script, and Mike blocked me immediately when I agreed with Script. Made me question Mike's agenda. Thanks. She's observing patterns that don't make sense. That's all. Aaron Day, Nick, and Script shouldn't be brought into the conversation that Matt included them in. Like I said, I had nothing to do with that. Mike's been going at me because I literally said that I wasn't picking a side when he was having a back and forth with David Snedeker. And I stood up for Crash and I stood up for Michelle Moore. So I didn't see Mike standing up for nobody. I didn't like Mike went to AZ and it's nothing but drama. Okay, nothing but drama. But like when you start calling me out and start saying I'm CIA, you think I'm gonna sit here and be quiet? You think like I'm gonna be quiet about that? You got the wrong fucking one, bro. And look, this is what these were your words. Once again, Trump took a deal with the deep state to quit. Mike Gill. And I was trying to show you here. This is Leroy. I go back and forth with Leroy on X a lot. Say, look, hey, Script, don't tell anyone, but when Mike got wasted in AZ and went streaking through the squad, he dropped the key to his box. So I took the key and opened the box. All I found was all this stuff from someone. Well, I know what we found. He's trying to say, I'm a grifter. This is you, Mike Gill. That's you, Mike GoFundMe Gill. Hey, yo, you picked the wrong one, bro. You want to buy me a course? And here's the Pandora's box that we always talk about. Let me get out the way so y'all can see it.
La-dee-da-da-da-da. La-dee.
Should have left me alone, Mikey. I can attack your message because the message is bullshit. Why President Trump don't care, and neither does Dan Scavino and the rest of it. You drifting there, banging the carrot. This Pandora's papers by other people. But I have to teach all the corrections. We all been known about that. All of us. For like 10 years, 15 years. Pandora's papers.
And if you guys saw there, so the video inside the video there, that's where that extra noise came from at the end there. So basically this is the address to look into the Pandora Papers. ICIJ.org/investigations. Okay. Is the link for this. And this was available to everybody. And this guy picked up that ball and has been rolling with it. And yeah. And the thing is as we have been following this situation with through Q, back at the beginning is we have it all. They already have all the evidence. They don't need Mike Gill. Not one bit. Not any way, shape, or form do they need Mike Gill. None whatsoever. Self-elevation leads to nothing. And he showed, and you showed, and he, so Give, Send, Go is the alternative to GoFundMe, because GoFundMe ripped off the truck drivers there in Canada, and so Give, Send, Go was made so that people can make donations to people. Okay. I got thrown off of pretty much every donation site, PayPal, Venmo, all of them. Okay. The only one I can use is the Cash App. But this guy's still on the, is talking about, he's talking about the corruption. He's talking about the Pandora Papers, everything else. And his GoFundMe is still up. Nobody's gone after his account. So it really makes me wonder exactly who is a plant and who's not. Yep. So, yeah. My socio factors says, let's take a brief look at the Houston water line repair corruption scandal, in which a few local government blacks and browns robbed millions of taxpayers by operating a bribery theft scheme with the city water's funds. Here we go.
Look what my
different names to get paid under two different names. Prosecutors describe 33-year-old Danielle Hertz as Patrice Lee's personal collection agent. They say she also used the alias Rachel Taylor to collect pay from Patrice Lee's fraudulent consulting business and two other city contractors, essentially triple dipping while doing no actual real work to earn the payments. She's charged with bribery and abuse of official capacity. While she didn't answer our questions once on the elevator, the gravity of the case against her seemed to set in. Frank Perkins owns CST Connections. The Texas Rangers say he received more than $349,000 from the city of Houston and then paid Lee $28,000. Court records reveal Perkins told investigators Lee approached him and requested the money. Outside of court, he was silent. She asked you to pay her charity?
So Mr. Perkins doesn't have any particular comment at this time. As his attorney, I'll tell you that he's an innocent man. He's a businessman with a good reputation in this city, and we intend to defend it here today.
Next up, Joseph Neary of Neary Construction, charged with bribery. Court records show he paid Lee more than $77,000, while his contracts with the city increased from less than $1 million to more than $8 million. He also let his attorney do the talking.
Certainly, we are going to be doing everything we can to vigorously defend against what we think are incorrect allegations.
Former Houston Water Department maintenance manager Patrice Lee is still in jail. She did not appear in court, but her new attorney, Jay Diedrich, did.
I just met her a few minutes ago, literally.
Diedrich told reporters Lee has a child with special needs. He plans to get medical records to make the case that Lee's $460,000 bond should be lowered so she can get out of jail. Diedrich told us Lee's family hired him, but her brother, also charged in the corruption scandal, did not show up in court.
You had much opportunity to ask her where her brother might be. He didn't show up.
I did not. I know his name is Andrew Thomas, and I know he's a UH grad, and but I've never met him.
And even with all these defendants, the prosecutors with Harris County District Attorney's Office say they are still investigating, and there's still maybe more people charged in this case. They're asking anybody with any tips or information to call the Texas Rangers at 281-517-1400. I'm Amy Davis, KPRC 2 News.
Yeah, so these people worked out some scams in order to force people to change out their water meters and pipes and everything else when they didn't have to. And these guys were given the contracts for that, and they had to give kickbacks to the person who set it all up. That's pretty messed up. It's pretty messed up, especially in the economy that we live in today. That's even more so. Very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. All right, Lieutenant Government. Lieutenant Government. Yeah, we'll be all right. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, Republican from North Carolina, give the best response to Republican Party is the party of old white men. Philosophy spewed by Democrats and the media. Mischief says, let's take a listen.
So,
well, they say, well, the Republican Party is the party of old white men. Coming off. And while we're on that subject, wasn't it the Republican Party that fought a war to free the slaves? How many Jim Crow laws were passed by Republicans? Wasn't it the Republicans who ended Jim Crow? Then you can take it even further and say, so you're a Democrat. Why are you a Democrat? You know the Democrats were the ones that were in favor of slavery. They were the ones in favor of the Confederacy. They were the ones that created Jim Crow. They are the ones that made the laws, and they are the ones that fought like hell to keep them until they found out a different way to enslave people. Instead of giving them welfare, instead of giving them slave shacks and shackles, they decided they were going to give them welfare checks and the ghetto.
Damn! All right. Stephen Baldwin talking about a lot of Hollywood actors that had gone away and have suddenly made a comeback. Comeback kid. Oh, he's going to drop some names in this one. Pay close attention, because I talked about a particular movie that came out a little over a year ago, and these people have kind of disappeared since information about them individually has come forward. Yeah, this is
going to be fun. I mean, talk about your comeback kid. A lot of comebacks happening in Hollywood right now. It's so exciting. All these people who were gone away from Hollywood are now coming back to even greater success than ever before in Hollywood. Guess you could call all those folks comeback kids. A lot of comebacks happening. I wonder else what other famous Hollywood heroes will be coming back. What's that guy's name that played Jesus? Caviezel? Hey, Jim. Are you ready to make your comeback? This is going to be fun.
Yeah. Caviezel. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Yep. Yeah, and you do have to ask, have these been actors all along? Think on that for a second. Have they all been actors all along? Every single politician, every single judge, everything, all the way down the line. Have they been actors all along, playing their parts? Yeah. And that's a really good comment. I would like to come back to the point I could afford rent and food. Just saying. Blackwatch, let me tell you, there are a lot of people in this chat that at this moment, they 100% agree with you. 100%. Yeah. Central casting. That's right. Awakened Trillium. That's exactly what I'm speaking of. Exactly how long has central casting been going on? I think it's been going on a lot longer than just this period of time. All right. This is Laura Loomer Watch with news that President Trump will be campaigning in Virginia on June 28th, just one day after the first presidential debate. Here's a reminder that Virginia Senate Tim Kaine's son is a member of Antifa and was arrested in 2017 for violently storming the Minnesota Capitol building. Here we go.
Hi, it's so great to meet you. I'm so excited to meet you, Senator Payne. My name is Laura Loomer. I'm a conservative investigator.
It's great to be here.
It's great to be here. And I really just want to ask ask you a couple questions.
Yeah, I'm going to talk and we'll take some questions.
Senator, right? But I want to ask you, you're running to be senator, and you talk about energetic activism. Are you going to condemn Antifa, sir? I understand your son Woody Kane is a member of Antifa, a domestic terrorist organization. I brought this for you, Senator Kane. You said we need to take the fight to the street. Why should the people vote for you as senator when you're advocating for violence?
Fight in the streets, fight in the streets, fight in the streets.
Son is a member of Antifa. This is Woody Kane. Your son is a member of a domestic terrorist organization. Will you condemn Antifa? Will you condemn Antifa?
Fight in the streets, fight in the streets, fight in the streets.
Maxine Waters told me to confront you.
You need to leave. This is a private property.
Cory Booker told me to get in your face.
But let me get to the
Cory
punch.
Booker told me to get in your face, Senator Kane.
In this race,
Maxine Waters said to confront Democrats in public. Please condemn Antifa.
Fight in the streets, fight in the streets, fight in the streets.
Energetic activism.
Energetic activism, Senator Kane. Energetic activism. Why would anybody want a senator who incites violence? Why should Republicans vote for you? How are you going to represent your Republican constituents when you're inciting violence against conservatives?
Yeah. Son beat a person bloody. Yep. Just following the rules, right? Liberal logic, oil on canvas, 36 by 48. Scott Libido. Here we go.
Good afternoon, America, on this hot summer day. Once a month-ish, I unveil one of my latest masterpieces for you folks, because I love you. Usually I do it in Times Square or in front of City Hall or in front of somebody's office, like I did with the George Soros portrait in front of his office in Manhattan a couple of months ago. But today, I'm going to unveil my latest masterpiece right here in front of you. Usually I tease you and then I do it. But today, from my humble workspace right here, I'm going to unveil my latest masterpiece. Now, folks, when I unveil it and bring the curtain down, I need you, I'm going to leave it up for a while because there's so much detail, specifically with this one, okay? It's called liberal logic. And all of that shit that makes liberals think the way they do today in 2024 with all the shit going on. So I want you to really zoom in on all the detail. So I hope you enjoy it. I worked hard on it, as usual. I give you liberal logic, oil on canvas.
Wow. Did you see the detail in that? That must have taken him hours. I love him. I love what he does. He does a great job. He puts out some great content and he puts some humor in there too. And yeah, we have to have it. We have to have the humor. We have to have the humor. All right, I'm watching my time here. Let me see how much more we got to go. All right, I got to watch the time because honestly, I'm almost out of gas. So I need to watch this or I won't have cooking fuel tonight. Okay. Steve Bannon, very interesting one here. Kash Patel, maybe we should be interrogating Paul Ryan under oath. Now, I showed a video yesterday in regards to Paul Ryan having the Steele dossier before they went after Trump. Okay. long period of time beforehand. So this really goes into the context of exactly where the Russian narrative came from. All right, here we go.
That film's coming out in the month of July. It's going to be a blockbuster. You're going to love it. This audience is going to absolutely love it. But Cash, you're driving. Now, I had to get you up. I've got 2 tweets about you about my beatdown of Paul Ryan the other day about talking about character and, Trump's lacks character. You brought 2 brutal tweets up about Paul Ryan's character related to the Steele dossier that has not gotten anywhere near the exposure to this. Tell me what you got, brother.
Hey, Steve, great to be with you. Thanks. Remember in 2016, let's rewind the tape. It was Russia collusion, Russia collusion, Russia collusion. And then Speaker Paul Ryan enlisted me and Devin Nunes to investigate the Russia collusion. Nobody knew what the Steele dossier was in 2016. They had already gone to the federal court and unlawfully surveilled Donald Trump with it. But what we didn't find out until after we completed our investigation in 2018 was that the speaker, Paul Ryan, who charged us with investigating Russiagate, was the first guy to ever get a copy of the Steele dossier in 2016. He never told us. He still never admitted it. It finally was admitted in a British court where Christopher Steele was being sued. Just think about it, Steve. We could have asked, where did you get it? Who did you get it from? How was it paid for? All of these secrets could have come out under this man's very investigation, but he rigged it from the beginning. So I'm done listening to lectures about the new conservative brand that is Paul Ryan, and anytime he wants to debate me, I'm all in. He charged us with an investigation that he rigged because he didn't want Donald Trump to succeed. He kneecapped him from the beginning. That guy's talking about not going to the RNC. No one wants him there. He's so arrogant, he doesn't understand the simple fact that we put out the truth.
Cash, and I'll have you back on next week when we get you on the Skype. Are you telling me and telling this audience in a British court filing that Steele filed under penalty of perjury, he identified that Paul Ryan actually had the Steele dossier before he charged you guys at House Intel to look into this, and he never informed Devin Nunes, the chairman of that? That's impossible to believe. Are you sure about this?
100% accurate. The Steele dossier was handed to Paul Ryan's chief of staff in 2016. They put out a mealy mouth response to it, which basically said, oh, we didn't get it from Christopher Steele directly. They admitted it in court that they had a copy the entire time, and they didn't tell us in 2016. They didn't tell us in 2017. They didn't tell us in 2018. The quintessential piece of evidence, which was exposed because I went to DOJ and got the FISA, which the Steele dossier was entire part of, and Paul Ryan was the one that fought us tooth and nail on declassifying it. Now we know why. He had it for sure. He is a total coward.
This is a blockbuster. We're going to drill down on this. I'm telling you, the rats and the serpents around President Trump are unbelievable. Cash, I need people to go to not just your website. I need to go to your Twitter feed today, over the weekend, drill down. I know you're going to be putting up a lot more information. Where do they go?
Truth Social. I'm not a part of the scam that is censorship. I'm only on Truth Social at Cash at KSH. We're going to put out the documents from the British court pleading itself. You don't got to take my word for it as a Russiagate lead investigator. Just go see it and read it for yourselves and show the community. Every time Paul Ryan's out there on Fox News and everywhere else talking about his righteous sanctimony. Remember, this is a guy that cost Republicans the House majority. Maybe we would have hung on to it if Paul Ryan told us he had the Steele dossier from jump, who he got it to, how much he was paid for having it, and why he never told us the truth. Maybe we should be interrogating Paul Ryan under oath.
We are. Paul Ryan, your turn, the barrel's coming, bro. Thank you very much, Cash Patel. We'll dive down on this deeper Monday or Tuesday. Cash Patel, on the road, government gangsters. We'll play that.
It makes you wonder exactly how many monkeys can they fit in this damn barrel. Yeah. All right, another one from Wall Street Babes here. There has never been a government this corrupt. Yep. This is Joe Biden's Energy Secretary Granholm has dark money connections to foreign billionaires, and Energy Department executives are trading stocks in companies they regulate. What did we just hear just a little while ago? If athletes aren't allowed to bet on the games that they play, then why are our government officials allowed to invest in companies that they regulate. Here we go.
Since you don't know the stocks, do you know the names of the foreign billionaires?
This is unbelievable to me.
Let me help you.
Mr. Chairman.
One of them
be
is
accused like
Hans-Georg
this.
Weiss, a Swiss billionaire who has used various dark money front
I do
groups
not know what you
to
are
funnel
talking about.
various dark money front groups to funnel foreign money into American politics. He has used the Burger Action Fund, $20 million, that then sent money to the Fund for a Better Future, that then sent money to the Climate Power Group that has funded conferences you've attended. Do you know who this is? Do you think it's a good idea to attend conferences funded by foreign billionaires?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You don't know the stocks, you don't know the billionaires, you would take no responsibility. Meanwhile, your energy department, executives in your energy department are trading stocks in companies that they have direct oversight over, and you were too.
That is incorrect.
It's a
Nobody
fact.
in the Department of Energy, and we have a strong ethics office, does not trade stocks in anything that they have oversight over.
That is
People may own
simply
individual
not
stocks.
true, Madam Secretary.
Sir,
the Wall
this
Street
is
Journal
true.
has reported on this
If I may.
extensively.
Wall Street.
Yep. They're all getting put on the fire. You know, there was a kid's song. It was 5 little hot dogs frying in the pan. The grease got hot and one went bang. Well, we're seeing a whole bunch of little hot dogs in this pan, and they're each going bang one at a time. One after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. Does the corruption ever end? And where exactly is the start? And where is the finish? The American taxpayer deserves a full accountability. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. None. To tell us that we don't have the right to know what you're doing with our tax dollars tells me that you don't deserve our tax dollars. Tells me that every penny that every person brings home from their job should stay in their flipping household. Every penny they receive from their retirements should stay in their household. Every bit of it. All right. Santa Trump says, here we go. Donald J. Trump posted a large, complex, detailed, but irrefutable report on the presidential election frauds which took place in Georgia is almost complete and will be presented to me at a major news conference at 11 a.m. on Monday of next week in Bedminster, New Jersey. Based on the results of this conclusive report, all charges should be dropped against me and others. There will be complete exoneration. They never went after those that rigged the election. They only went after those that fought to find the riggers. It's all going to come out. Every bit of it is going to come out. Every single bit. So, one of those little events that I was talking about that are going around America, okay, let me ask you something. If somebody shows you a video of a couple hundred tanks being rolled through a city, are you going to pay more attention to that, or are you going to pay attention to this? Hazmat crews are on the scene after a temporary shelter in place was ordered due to the leak of 2 highly toxic chemicals which produced orange toxic clouds. This is in Buckeye, Arizona. Okay. Hazmats are on the scene after the emergency officials ordered a temporary shelter in place. Okay. And this is the fumes coming up here. So which are you going to be more alleviating towards? You know, are you going to lean more towards looking at those tanks, you know, rolling down the railroad tracks? Or are you going to be looking at yes, I did. Yes, I did. Thank you. Thank you. I we look at all these different scenarios of what's going on, and we have to ask ourselves, what are they directly trying to get us not to look at? Okay, distraction. Look over here, not over here. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Look over there. Look over there. Look over there. You know, and it's like, it really makes me wonder, because both of these things happened at the same time. So the news isn't going to report to you that there are 100 tanks from foreign countries on a train making their way across the country, but they're going to let you know about this little fiasco here in Buckeye, Arizona. Let's see if there's not that the shelter in place is not a bad thing, or is a bad thing, and that they're trying to protect the community. But it seems to me that so many of these things seem to coincide in order to distract us from seeing something else. Just that's just the way that I'm seeing this. Oh yeah, so that's in Buckeye. And the thing is does it say which? See, and this is something that kind of annoys me. Now they tell you nitric acid, but what they don't do is tell you what the other chemical is that it got combined with. If two chemicals are spilled that are creating this, shouldn't people know what both sides of the hazard is? Why are they only Clay B, I'll get to that comment in just a minute. But shouldn't they be it's you got nitric acid and ammonia. And it's like yeah, so kind of strange, just kind of strange. This is a clip that I saw this morning. It just kind of hit me right at that moment. I'll get Clay B's comment here. All those tanks passed over here on the Huey P. Long Bridge yesterday. Clay B, where are you? You don't have to tell me your exact town, but what area are you thinking of? I'm trying to think of the Huey P. Long Bridge. That's in Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I probably am wrong. But Roland, that's a very good question. Where is the fertilizer that went missing? Yeah, and it's been what, 3 years, 4 years since that went missing. If I'm not mistaken, it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Put a map up of the train track. I don't know. I'd have to find it. New Orleans. Okay, yeah. So I thought it was Louisiana. Yeah. It sounded familiar because I lived over in Westwego for a short time while I was in the Marine Corps. I was stationed down up at Lake Pontchartrain. I used to drive that way all the time. So yeah, I was in Westwego, and then I was in Athens for about another 3 months, about a year after that. So it's been quite a while since I lived out there, though. Quite many years. So, all right, here's John McAfee.
Today is a day of recognition for human trafficking and slavery still existing around the world. The tragedy of human trafficking, forced prostitution, forced labor, hereditary slavery that exists in almost every country needs to be abolished. But I think this is also a time that we should look at ourselves and ask if we too are not slaves of an even worse kind, voluntary slaves to the system. What is your life like? Many of you wake up 6, 7 in the morning, have your breakfast, kiss your wife goodbye, your kids or your husband, drive to work, commuting up to an hour, spending 9 hours in an airless, windowless office, artificially lit, and then reversing that process, getting home just in time to kiss your spouse one more time, and your kids, eat supper, and go to bed. And how long are we expected to do this? For at least 40 years or more. After which we get retired with a gold watch and a retirement fund that can barely fund your eating, let alone anything else. And this is your life. This is your life. Please. This is your life. The most miraculous, beautiful gift conceivable, and this is how you spend it. You're slaves to the system. But if you step outside, like me, you're hunted. You're hounded. Do you have the courage to at least look at the truth of yourself? Thank you.
Yeah. I don't think he's dead. I think he's in hiding. You step outside their system, they want you back in it. They either want you in their system or they want you dead. One or the other. If you're not willing to do all of those, then we're just going to kill you off. If you're not willing to do what we say, then we're going to kill you off. That doesn't sound much like a compromise. It doesn't, yeah. Tim Brown, I don't think he ever died. I think he's been in protective, in under protection for quite a while. Yeah. So, McAfee is in your phone. Well, the phone is awful small, and he's a pretty big dude. So you must have a big phone, Benjamin. All right. Amanda Meme says she nails it. Leftism is evil. Oh, we kind of know that already.
What are they going to do when you say that the world's going to end in 10 years and the world is overpopulated? So to solve the problem, we can't be having as many kids. Just seeing the way that they connect all these issues in their minds makes me really worried, because in communist China, they literally forced abortions onto anybody who had more than one child. Then they sterilized all the women that dared to get pregnant. So women were secretly having their kids and then keeping the kids in little tents and barns in the countryside. So this is not us like freaking out and creating some hypothesis of what could happen. This is actually what leftist regimes do, especially when they start running out of resources. We now have the Biden food shortage coming, and this is a classic step after leftist policies destroy a country. After they had the famine in China, they had no resources, and it resulted in the one-child policy. So this is disturbing. Leftism is evil. It's satanic, and I'm not surprised at all that now they're saying don't have kids. What are they going to do when you say that the world's going to end in 10 years and the world is overpopulated? So to solve the problem, we can't be having as many kids. Just seeing the way that they connect all these issues in their minds makes me really worried, because in communist China, they literally forced abortions onto anybody who had more than one child. Then they forced sterilized all the women that dared to get pregnant. So women were secretly having their kids and then keeping the kids in little tents and barns in the countryside. So this is not us like freaking out and creating some hypothesis of what could happen. This is actually what leftist regimes do, especially when they start running out of resources. We now have the Biden food shortage coming, and this is a classic step after leftist policies destroy a country. After they had the famine in China, they had no resources, and it resulted in the one-child policy. So this is disturbing. Leftism is evil. It's satanic. And I'm not surprised at all that now they're saying don't have kids. What are they going to do?
I had to play that twice. It's because I just wanted to make sure I heard her correctly, you know. And those of us that remember when the one-child, you guys, you know, those of you that remember when the one-child policy was first announced on TV, but that they were doing that to China, you guys remember that? You know, and it just seems wow, you know. And the thing is how can their food supply be so bad when the vastness of land that they have? Okay. I mean, they have duplicates of American cities in China that nobody lives in. I mean, think of that. Okay. And they're not cookie cutter things. These are down to every intricate detail of every single building in a city, completely duplicated. Yeah, you didn't know that? Yes, there are American cities in China. Absolutely. They even have a copy of the White House in China. The White House. But then again, Tyler Perry has one in his studio. And then there's another one. I think I think Tyler Perry's is in Georgia. I think it is. I think it's in Georgia. And then there's another one. There's another one as well at another old Hollywood lot. You know, yeah. Yes, chessboard. There is quite a bit of information on the Wayback Machine. I go through, you know, basically. So when I see a video like John McAfee, what I do is I check to find out if that video had been published previously, so that I could say, well, this was a video he put out 3 years ago, or a video he put out 4 years ago, so on and so forth. When I did the Wayback search on that, I did not find that particular video anywhere in the Wayback Machine. So that's why, you know. So, but back to the buildings. Why do they have copies of these cities? Why did they need such intricate detail of every single building? And why is a good question, Ms. Mendersu. That is a very good question. Why? Digital Hawk says, is it a spy training course? I don't know. I don't live there. You know, oh, then what are you? Oh, okay. Reply. Okay. Give me a second. Okay. So, Miss Mendersu, you're free for the weekend. You got rid of the man. What are you gonna do now? He just sent me a message telling me he was at the wedding. That's great, though. It's when I first saw it, I thought it was you sending that to me, and I was like, "Wow, you're at a wedding and you're watching me. Wedding must not be that interesting." That's crazy. It's funny, crazy funny. It's that's cool. I was like, "Yeah, you're tuned in." It's get the bride and the groom to sit down and watch this too. Yeah, no, Ren's on the other side of the country doing his niece's wedding. That's awesome. It's great to see that this didn't turn into a 10-year lockdown, or else he wouldn't have been able to go and attend that. Because that was what was planned. Because if the Donald didn't do what he did with Operation Warp Speed, then they wouldn't have come out with these other things 10, 12 years. And I just wish that they had stuck with the Regeneron and the Z-Pack. That would have made things so much easier. Would have gotten everybody through it, and no problems whatsoever. So, all right, let's move along here. Here we go with. All right, two thugs race and fight each other to steal a FedEx package just seconds after the package was dropped off on someone's doorstep. Absolute insanity. This clip was shared by the homeowner on Facebook and shows the men jumping out of their cars as they race to the package. So, So my question is, did this guy get their license plates and just turn them all in? Yeah. So, yeah. Miss Mendercy says, "Yep, I'm on my own for 4 days, doing good so far, watching all my pups. Hubby meeting up with family." Right on. Yeah, that's good. Sometimes it's nice to have the calm, sometimes. All right. So CrimeNet says parents have been blocking driveways to pick up their kids from school. This man decided to hit a mother's truck in return. Who's in the wrong? Well, number one, you see where her truck is parked. What's right there? What's the first thing you notice? This thing called a fire hydrant. See this right here? So her truck is parked right here, blocking access to a fire hydrant. But let's go ahead.
I had an emergency. I had to leave. You're blocking my driveway.
You didn't damage. Did you damage it?
I don't know. I'm waiting for the sheriff. I need to make the report. You're blocking my driveway. You're blocking the pump.
Do you want to back out and see?
No, I'm just waiting for the sheriff.
Well,
why did you park on my driveway?
I just parked for just a second.
Not a second. It's been like 20 minutes already.
It can't be 20 minutes.
Why am I not paying for your car? You're blocking a driveway.
You hit my car.
You're blocking a driveway. No, you're entitled. You feel entitled. Everybody here around here feels entitled for them to park in front of the street. Look, she's right on the middle of the street. Everybody feels entitled. You're entitled to block my driveway just because you have to pick up your kids? No, right?
These two first.
Are you a body shop person?
No, at the picture you can see that this.
Are you a body shop person? Like, how do you know that's not connected with this?
Listen, you hit my car.
Okay, well, just wait for the sheriff to make the report, and then we'll go from there for the insurances.
Well, you said you have an emergency. Shouldn't you go?
Why you feel entitled to block my driveway? Why you feel entitled to block my
I
driveway?
apologize. I didn't. Everybody did it. So
No, what do you mean that everybody did it? I've been.
And it's her attitude isn't, oh, sorry,
I had an emergency. I had to leave. You're blocking my
sorry,
driveway.
I was blocking your driveway and blocking access to a fire hydrant. Now, if you or me pulled in front of never mind the driveway, just parked in front of a fire hydrant, people would be going crazy. You know, think about that, especially in more packed cities. New York. You what happens if you block a fire hydrant in New York? They break the windows on your car and feed the hoses through it. They don't go over the top of your car. They break your windows and they run the hose through your windows to the fire hydrant. And guess what? You don't get to disconnect that hose from the fire hydrant because, number one, you ain't got the tools to do it. Okay? So you're going to wait until that fire's out. It could be 10 hours, 12 hours, 20 hours. We've seen fire trucks sit at places, 2-3 days in a row because of the fact that, you never know if the fire's going to kick back up from, a couple of small embers, just common sense. And if it's a driveway, wouldn't you think that a person who owns the driveway should have the right to go in and out that driveway? Irregardless as to whether you're going to pick up your kid or not? It's not like she was sitting in her vehicle waiting for the kid to come up the street and jump in the car. She parked in front of the driveway, got out of her vehicle, walked to the school, was gone for 20 minutes, vehicle unattended, not just blocking the driveway, but blocking a fire hydrant. Now, when the police come and they look at the guy's video, okay, the one thing that he should make note of is the placement of that fire hydrant, which is very clear to me, to you, anybody who's looking at this, and give her a ticket too for blocking access to a fire hydrant. I believe that it's emergency vehicles only, I believe is the reference law for that. I'm not positive, but I think that's what it is, so it's just, but people feel entitled to be able to do what the heck they want, Uncensored USA. Gotta love the comedians.
To go to the store, right? Well, it's a beautiful day in South Texas. We don't have them too often. It's called low humidity. And I'm in my car by myself.
Right.
It's just me and Jesus. I'm not putting on the fucking mask. And I'm pretty certain he's not going to catch COVID. So we all right. And I get down to the store and I'm carrying my mask. I'm not going to put it on until I get in the damn store.
Right.
And here comes a woman about my age.
Right.
She's all masked up. She got the plate glass in front of everything. Boy, this bitch, she ain't catching shit. And I see her look at me. Really, bitch? She's about my age, man. Right. And she bows up like she's going to tell me something. So she sort of looked at my face. And my face said, bitch, I wish you would. You feeling froggy, jump?
Right? You don't let it crazy, man.
I got Medicare too. Yeah. You young ones, understand something. As you get older, you're going to hear these words.
What words?
At our age. What does that even fucking mean? My friend goes, well, Caroline, I can't believe you still talk that way.
What?
Bitch, you new here? How long have you fucking known me? She said, yeah, but you
Who
know,
is this lady?
at our age. At our age, what? This is the first time I've been 70, bitch. I don't know how to fucking act. When I hit 50, I didn't get a fucking book. When you get your AARP card, they don't send you a manual and says, "All right, you 50, bitch. Shut the fuck up. Calm down." Only thing that happened when I hit 50 is my don't give a damn button broke.
I know.
I hit 60, I pulled that bitch out of the fucking wall. I hit 70 and realized I don't even have to fucking like you. Okay, I ain't got time for drama. I'm closer to Jesus than you. Shut the fuck up. Move on.
I'm 70 years old. I'm closer to Jesus. Oh. Sometimes we just have to laugh, okay? Because we see enough crazy crap going on. What is her name?
I had to go to the
they
store.
call her,
It's a beautiful day in
it's,
South Texas. You know, we don't have to.
I know they call her the Cajun. They call her the Cajun Queen. It was put up by THABIGTEX 2365 on TikTok. Caroline Picard is her name. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's I think she's funny. I played a clip out of this a couple of weeks back, but this actually had more context to it and everything. So you know, it's yeah. It's okay. Let's talk about something here. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. What exactly does that mean? Well, let's see. How do I put this? Cursing somebody is wishing death on them, wishing them to go to hell. Many variations like that. Okay. You know, I curse you is basically okay. And bless those who bless you. So people who give blessings receive blessings. Those who give curses get cursed. Okay. What they call cursing. Don't curse me. Don't curse me. Don't curse at me. I'm not cursing at you. If you're a fucking idiot, I'm going to tell you you're a fucking idiot. I'm not cursing you. I'm not putting a hex on you. And so the F word and the S word and the MF words and everything else, those are all considered cursing. What are you cursing for? Guess what? They're not cursing. Exactly. They're adjectives. Exactly. See, somebody who actually understands grammar. They're adjectives. That's all they are. They're not cursing you. They're not throwing curses at you. But if you're a fucking idiot, we're going to tell you that you're a fucking idiot. It's that simple. Colorful metaphors. I like that. Sparky's Run. You get the cookie of the day right there. Colorful metaphors. Tim Brown says exclamation points. Yeah, exactly. I'm exclaiming that you're a fucking idiot. No, not you, Tim. You get what I mean, though. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So what we need to do, well, Buff, the reason that he says the F word has such power, Because we give it power. We gave it power when we listened to them say, don't curse me. Okay? Saying fuck you doesn't mean that I want to fuck you. Okay? It means that obviously you did something to tick me off. And instead of actually saying to you, I hope you burn in hell, or so on and so forth, okay, is I'm not cursing you. I'm just using colorful speech or a colorful point or an explanation point or a colorful metaphor. That's all I'm doing. I'm not cursing you. We gave them power when we let them take our vocabulary and make a whole new category called cursing when they're just adjectives. That's it. You know, and jet lag. Just so you know, the F word, jet lag says the F word is the most universal word in the English language. They spelled it wrong. Okay. I actually, I played a video, I think it was about 2 years ago, that actually described exactly what fuck you meant. And what it was originally was pluck Hugh. Pluckhew. Okay. When the French and the German were battling, okay, the arrows were killing the French soldiers. Plucking Hughes, right? Pulling this, drawing the bow and letting go. So the middle finger comes from
Too often. It's called no
them
humility.
going,
And
showing that they still had their finger because the French were catching the soldiers and they were cutting off the fingers that they would use in which to pull the string and loose the arrows. So at the beginning of the battles or during the battles, they would go out and they would stick their middle fingers up at people on the other side and scream, pluck you. Okay. As a taunting of the French soldiers to get them to come closer so that they could shoot them with their bows and arrows. Pretty simple, right? We're under way too much British influence. Way too much. Way too much. We need to drop them guys like a sack of hot potatoes. No, I'm joking. Because my friend Gonzo is sitting here in the chat right now, and I just love him to death. Not that I would kill him. But I believe that he and I will be friends for the rest of our lives. And I will continue to annoy him every single opportunity that I have. Yeah. And I'm going to do it proudly. Because I love him. Yeah. And the thing, what's funny is we met in a pot chat room. Okay. Back when I first started doing the podcasts that were other than about pot. And he's like, he's asking me, he said, what are you doing? So I'm going to do my podcast. What? Where's your podcast? What's it about? Oh boy. And guess what? Fred Blogs returns is, he's still with us. 3.5 years later, he's still with us. Now we've been friends for about 7-8 years, through a chat program, heck, he actually had it planned. He was going to come out here and stay at the farm, for a season. And then what happened? The big C kicked in. and he wasn't able to come. But it's cool. He's been intertwined with our community now for quite a long period of time. Not guilty. I love you, brother. But it's it's strange, the people that we, each of us, have met through this thing called the internet, that turns out that are good people to know, we can pass ideas back and forth between us and everything, and try and get our opinions crossed and everything. This is just a great way to do things. Freedom Fields, do I have any videos of the cannabis video still? I have the majority of them are on my computer. So it's like you wanna see my let's see, is it this one? Yeah. Let's see here. Nope. Desktop. And then let's go to why did that make that so small? What's up with that? Remember when we had this? Digital Hawk made that for us. Oh, get that off there. You guys don't need to see that. I even have videos of when I was when I used to perform. This is me, a long time ago.
I don't care. Don't climb a mountain, high mountain. Your pop on the road.
You don't need any more of that. That was enough. Let's see. Where in the heck did I put that video? I know it's here somewhere. I had to have put it in. Dang nabbit. Telling you, I got so many videos on here. And let's see here. Why don't I pull that off screen? That way, there we go. Come on. Where are you? Nope, that's not it either. Oh, that's right. Okay, it's on the other hard drive. Okay, all right. Yeah, I have some. I'll end up after the war of censorship is over. I will get back to. I will repost all my old cannabis videos. Yeah. So, yeah. Let's see. Okay. All right. So let's keep moving along here because you guys we're getting distracted with my crap. Okay. Let's see. I've made some comments about this recently. Okay. Oh yeah, the Sun on Demand video. Yeah, I still have that. I still have that, Fred. So Sun on Demand is a company out of California. They came up and they gave me a light to try out, and basically this one light, this one light that is no bigger than a golf ball. Okay, and I'm not kidding. Okay, no bigger than a golf ball. Put out what 10, 1,000 watt and 2,000 watt light bulbs could put out. One bulb the size of a golf ball put out more light than 10 1,000 watt light bulbs that were about 6.5 to 8 inches long each. Not kidding. I did a side-by-side grow comparison between the 1,000 watt light cycles, okay, and the Sun on Demand light cycle. And what was very interesting about this Sun on Demand light was that this Sun on Demand light gave me 100% of outdoor sun growth indoor. So outdoor, I take a plant in a 100-gallon pot and I can pull anywhere between 7 to 12 pounds off of that one plant. Okay. Indoor, because of space and time, generally I was pulling about 2 pounds per plant maximum. This one light changed everything. Okay. What's really cool about it is I brought that light outside and put the little light, it's like an aluminum cone around the light, and shot the light through it. And the 1,000 watt lights could be seen, I think it was up to 600 yards. Okay. The Sun on Demand light was seen 2.5 miles away. Now, they're not cheap lights. They're a couple of grand, but it's called Sun on Demand. Let's see. And here is the link for their company. And I believe that my one of my videos, the because of the first light that I was using of theirs, is actually on let's see if it's I'm not seeing. They've updated their stuff on here. But the guy who that I was dealing with was incredible. His name was Sin. Really, really incredible individual, and a few others. And they just, did Azentive. That's what it is called, Azentive, Sun on Demand. And I'm going to drop the link for this on here. And you get pricing and everything for them. And if the light breaks, they come out and they fix it. It really, really just incredible people with this company, Sun on Demand. And let's see. Yeah, the footprint of these lights was just so incredible. You know, it really was. But you sidetracked me. Yeah, exactly. What did you start? Yeah, yeah, incredible indoor crops. You know, it's these lights are ideal for it. So light deprivation is one of the ways of growing, and that's basically you block out the sun. You know, you only give it light for a specific period of time, and in order to keep your crops, pretty steady flow. You know, so we covered up our greenhouses with a material that's called Pando film. It's black on one side, white on the other, and we do it so that the white is on the outside of the greenhouse and the black is on the inside. And the reason that we do that is so that the heat from the sun is actually being reflected off of the white, the white of the greenhouse. However, if we were doing it during the winter time, the black would be on the outside absorbing heat, and the white would be on the inside reflecting the lights that we have inside. And in a 25 by 40 greenhouse, that one light lit the entirety of the entire greenhouse. So imagine being able to have your greenhouse run for you year round with just, say, the summer schedule of light. Then you would be producing fruits and vegetables year round with one light. No different than if the sun was out there. The difference is during the wintertime, you know, you got to keep it warm. So it works out good. So, all right. So I've made some comments in the past in regards to some people that we all know said that they worked for HARP, worked for the HARP systems and everything, that basically claimed that it was impossible for the government to be able to use these things against the people, that they weren't weapons in any way, shape, or form, that they were just basically listening posts. Okay. Well, unfortunately, more and more is coming out, and has been coming out pretty steady for a little over 2 years now, which tells me that these people were full of shit. And I hate to say that because some of them are friends. Some of them are friends. We're going to let some experts explain exactly what HARP can and has been used for, and exactly how many of them there are. Here we go.
Transmission system.
That's right. That's right. It's in outside of Tromsø, the biggest HARP type of thing, part of ASCAT system. This system going from Svalbard, Tromsø, Kiruna in Sweden has the headquarters of the whole system, and then in Lapland, in Finnish Lapland, in Sodankylä. And you know, when they blast electromagnetic fields, it goes through all of Europe.
And do you think that's a form of mind control?
Oh, it can be used for mind control, of course, like HARP. And that is the danger, because people know nothing about mind control. They don't know that your thoughts can be changed, your attitudes, your feelings. If you love somebody sitting at a computer, even through satellites, can say, okay, let's make it opposite. And you start just detesting the person who you love. You can't be in the same room, you know, you feel uncomfortable. I think this is terrible, because you're making people into biological robots.
Transmission system.
That's right. That's right. It's in outside of Tromsø.
Yes, I'm letting this play for a second time because I really want people to hear and understand what she's saying that the manipulation can entail.
the biggest harp type of thing, part of ASCAT system. The system going from Svalbard, Tromsø, Kiruna in Sweden has the headquarters of the whole system, and then in Lapland, in Finnish Lapland, in Sodankylä. And you know, when they blast electromagnetic fields, it goes through all of Europe.
And do you think that's a form of mind control?
Oh, it can be used for mind control, of course, like HARP. And that is the danger, because people know nothing about mind control. They don't know that your thoughts can be changed, your attitudes, your feelings. If you love somebody, somebody sitting at a computer, even through satellites, can say, okay, let's make it opposite. And you start just detesting the person who you love. You can't be in the same room, you know, you feel uncomfortable. I think this is terrible, because you're making people into biological robots.
Now, when a friend is on a podcast with you and says that I worked for this company and there's absolutely no way that this is going on, and we have leading researchers from around the world that are coming forward now and speaking in the truths of this, how are we supposed to react? How are we supposed to maintain the same respect level and everything else for the individuals who directly lied to us? I'm sorry, but you can't work for a company like that and not know what the company is doing. And Tim Brown, I'm going to pull up another one of your comments. Boy, you're just getting a whole lot of spotlighting today, young man. You need to cool your britches. But he's right. Why lead paint was outlawed. Yeah. Because they couldn't reach you in your home if there was lead in the paint. You were protected from their frequency holders, or what do you call them? Disruptors or whatever, you know. I used to chew on those same windowsills. Yes, I did. Ate many a paint chips when I was a kid. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with me. All right. T says, if a slave auction fell on the day of a Jewish festival, it was postponed due to the lack of sellers and buyers. Buckle up. Black America is waking up to their real slave masters. Well, you also got to realize that you weren't the only slaves. That's the other thing you need to realize. Here we go.
And who were the owners of these slave ships? Who were the biggest slavers in the 16th century? The Ashkenazi were the biggest slavers in the 16th and 17th century, going into the 18th century. You see, Ashkenazi slaving was huge. This is from, I have to be careful when I say this, so my sources, it's always best to go with Jewish sources, right? Because you just trod on a bunch of toes. So we'll go with the Jewish sources. There's a ton of sources out there, but I'll stick with the Jewish ones because that's just safer. The Jewish scholar Jonathan Shorshak says this: Jewish merchants routinely possessed enormous numbers of slaves temporarily before selling them off. If a slave auction fell on a Jewish festival, it was postponed due to lack of buyers and sellers. The Jews of Suriname gave their slave plantations Hebrew names such as Machanaim, Nachamu, and Goshen. Rabbi Herbert Bloom adds that the slave trade was one of the most important Jewish activities. Jewish slaving is in fact confirmed by the Jewish Encyclopedia.
Well, guess what? They believe that they have the right to do that God chose them to rule over all of us. And that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. All right. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson speaks on Faith and Freedom Coalition annihilating Democrats' policies and standing up for President Trump. Here we go.
Fantastic, fantastic. How's everybody doing? Good. Very first thing we're going to do, as always, we're going to give thanks to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Are there reporters in this room somewhere? I can't see through the light. It's the mainstream media here. If you're here, I want you to hear this. Hear me. I don't care what you say about me. I don't care what you do in your newsroom. I don't care about your plans and your schemes to bring this nation down with your Democratic friends. Why? Because Jesus Christ is still on the throne. You may have your news cameras and your satellites and your 24-hour news, but Jesus Christ holds the world in his hands. And he holds me in it as well. And what he has for me, you cannot keep from coming true. It may not be the governor's mansion. It may not be any political seat, but you will not stop Jesus Christ's will in my life. So I do not fear you. Write your stories, tell your lies, tell your half-truths. But Christ is still on the throne. And because he lives in my heart and I live for him, I know whatever I need to do on this earth for him, it will get done. So we give him thanks first and foremost. Guys, all these other guys that come out here and talk to you about the issues, we know the issues. The wide open border, crime on the street, fentanyl killing our children, pornography in our schools. We know about the issues, the failing economy, the precarious place the United States finds itself in on the world stage with its enemies. The horrible, absolutely dreadful administration that is currently leading our nation right now. It is mind-numbing to think that the most energetic, the greatest nation on earth, people seek to come to for that vaunted thing that we have, the freedom and energy and intelligence that we have in this country. And all 350 million people are being led by somebody who just barely knows that they're here on earth. We know what the issues are. But I didn't really come here to go into details about the issues. What I really came here to do, I came here to get something started. See, because we got a problem in this country. We got a bunch of clapper-trap people that sit behind news media desks and want to talk about fake trials for President Trump. Turn the television on, they talk about first one actor and then another actor, talking about all manners of foolishness. Talking about MAGA Republicans being the most dangerous people on earth. I don't know. I didn't see any MAGA Republicans on 9/11 blowing up buildings and airplanes. I don't think any MAGA Republicans were over in Israel murdering people. And I don't think a MAGA Republican gave them the money to be able to do it. See, we got folks in this country that don't want to talk about the substantive issues that all of us face. The things that we just talked about, that wide open border, the precarious place we find ourselves with safety and security in the world, on the world stage. They don't want to talk about your pocketbook. They don't want to talk about the fact that your children are in schools where we spend millions upon millions upon millions of dollars for those schools, and the children can't read on the grade level. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the fact that every single solitary policy that they propose and then pass yields horrible results. They don't want to talk about it. Why? Because it proves an essential truth. It proves an essential truth. What is that truth? The simple truth of the matter is this. They call us the right. We sit on the right. And we not only get called the right and call ourselves the right and sit on the right, we are right. We are right about every single solitary issue. When we say, shut that border down and deport those who are dangerous to our country, we are right. When we say, children should not be sexualized, we are right. And this nation knows it. When we say that it's your money, you earned it, you worked for it, the government should not be picking your pocket, we are right. See, we are right. Too many of us are ashamed to be right, though. Some of us, we go to work and folks start talking about politics and start standing up saying, I think Joe Biden's doing a wonderful job. And he's a nice man, because that President Trump is just mean. I just don't like the things that he says. He's just mean and arrogant, and he's a bully. If I hear that one more time, I am going to go crazy. This man is fighting. Let's listen to people he's fighting. He's fighting almost the entire news media. He's fighting all the Democrats. He's fighting all the communists. He's fighting all the socialists. He's fighting all of our enemies across the ocean. And sadly, he's fighting half the Republicans. How is this man a bully? How is he a bully? You see, we hear that at work sometimes. Some of us are a little shy about stepping up, standing up, saying anything. People look at us and say, why are you a Republican? We say, well, you know, my mom voted Republican. I like Ronald Reagan. I think he did a great job, and I like Reagan. And so that's why I'm a Republican. We shy away from the truth. We don't want to look at that person and say, you know, well, wasn't it the Republican Party that was formed to stand up for the Republic? Not the democracy like you see splayed on the news every day. You see, them folks want a democracy. They want the mob to rule. They don't want this republic. And they don't want Republicans standing up for the republic. You're going to tell them that, yeah, wasn't it? Well, they say, well, the Republican Party is the party of old white men. Coming off. And while we're on that subject, wasn't it the Republican Party that fought a war to free the slaves? How many Jim Crow laws were passed by Republicans? Wasn't it the Republicans who ended Jim Crow? Then you can take it even further and say, so you're a Democrat. Why are you a Democrat? You know, the Democrats were the ones that were in favor of slavery. They were the ones in favor of the Confederacy. They were the ones that created Jim Crow. They are the ones that made the laws, and they are the ones that fought like hell to keep them until they found out a different way to enslave people. Instead of giving them welfare, instead of giving them slave shacks and shackles, they decided they were going to give them welfare checks and the ghetto. You see, there are truths that nobody wants to talk about. Not the news media, not the college professors. I'm getting excited up here, guys. Not the college professors. Nobody want the front row. Y'all better watch out, bro. Woo! Spitting fire up here today. Y'all better watch out. Nobody wants to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it, and you should too. You should run and go tell the good news of why you're a Republican. You can take it all the way back to 1860 and bring it all the way up right now to 2020. You look at the states that are run by Republicans. Look at what Sarah Huckabee Sanders is doing in Arkansas. Look at what Glenn Youngkin is doing in Virginia. Look at what Ron DeSantis is doing in Florida and Greg Abbott is doing in Texas. Look at what the Republican legislature in North Carolina is doing and has done since 2010. And while we're on that subject, think about what North Carolina will do when Mark Robinson is the Republican governor. You see, there is a truth that's got to be told. Unfortunately, no one will tell it if you don't. No one will be bold enough to tell it if you're not. I speak about this all the time, and when I do, I try to do it without shedding tears, but it's hard for me to do it. I tell my wife I have two great dreams. One great dream exists on this side of the earth. The other dream exists on the other side. Dream on the other side is very dear to me. And people think that I hate people. I don't hate people. I hate actions. I hate actions that take advantage of people, destroy people's lives, and destroy and wreck nations. I hate the actions. I don't hate the people. One of my greatest dreams as a Christian is this. And I take it to heart, and when I say it, I mean it. You know, they tell me that when I die, if I do what God says on earth, that He has reserved a mansion for me, with many rooms. Think about that room that He may reserve for me. And I think about myself in it. And if that place is like anything like down here on earth, maybe people would come and visit me. You know who I want to come and visit me? Of course, I'd love to see the heroes of the faith come. My mother, my family, those that I love. But you know who else I want to see? I want to look out my window down in my driveway and see Nancy Pelosi come walking up. I'm serious. I want to see Joe Biden come walking up. I do. I do. I want to look down there and see my opponent, Josh Stein, come walking up. I want to look down there and see everybody who opposed me on earth, who called me an enemy on earth. I want to see them come walking up that driveway. You know why? Because it means they made it. Because they made it. Now, I don't want my opponent to make it to the governor's mansion, but I sure wouldn't mind if he made it to heaven. Because I don't hate anybody. Now, I want to see every single solitary person on this earth. I want to see their souls saved. Every single solitary person. And each and every one of us that calls ourselves a Christian should pray vehemently for their souls, that we would see them in heaven and forget about all this when we get up there. My second dream is this, and it's down here on earth. One day, years from now you look at them old photographs and you can tell what year they were taken. I want an old photograph to be sitting up on somebody's shelf in a home somewhere. I don't know where it may be. Could be here, some other place. And I want somebody to pull that photograph down and look at it and say, who is this man? And I want one of my grandchildren, or great-grandchildren, or great-grandchildren, right here in the United States of America, to take that picture, hold it up over their head and say, this is my grandfather. And I live in freedom today because he was man enough to stand up and give me the same kind of freedom that he grew up in. To me, that would be the single greatest honor on this earth. Now, I sincerely hope that each and every one of you would want to have that honor as well. Now, before I leave you, I want to leave you with this. Who are we as Republicans? Who are we as conservatives? Who are we as patriots? Who are we as MAGA Republicans? I boil it all down to this. Earlier this month, we celebrate what I call America's St. Crispin's Day. D-Day, June the 6th, 1944. The spirit of MAGA, the spirit of us, the spirit of the American patriot is embodied in those boys, in those boats. It lives inside of the hearts of each and every person in this room. It lives inside of the people who go back home and get politically active and are bound and determined to change the circumstances of their cities and their state and their nation. It exists in those moms who had the unmitigated gall, according to some, to go down to the school board and demand that their children not be sexualized. It lives in the heart of every patriot who decides to put their name on the dotted line and serve in office. It exists inside of Americans who love this nation. The heart of the boys in those boats on that day is literally the epitome of America. When times get tough for us, when you get scared, when you get nervous, when you think you can't win, think about them boys in them boats. Think about them bullets hitting that door. Think about the fact when that door opened, they didn't run to the back, they ran out that door. Bullets be damned, death be damned. I'm here to save my country. You think about them, you remember them, and you remember their sacrifice was not in vain because it lives in you, and it lives in me, and it lives in all of us. Let's let that energize us to save this nation one more time. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Do you believe the earth is flat?
I know the earth is flat.
Seriously?
Astrology and flat earth or true earth are symbiotic. You cannot have one without the other. If you have a ball and you are spinning, flying through space, chasing this fireball, your constellations would change every now and then. And our constellations have never changed. The stars have never changed. We have the same 12 zodiac signs that we had back in the Dendera stones in Egypt over 5,000 years ago. We're not moving. Every single ancient society knew this. The Mayans, the Aztecs, the Hindus, the Egyptians, every single ancient culture knew that we live in a geocentric universe, not a heliocentric where we are spinning, chasing this ball of fire while all of these other planets are rotating around us, while all of these other stars are rotating around us. If that was the case, Polaris would move, number one, which is the North Star, and it doesn't. Number two, all of the constellations would not rotate solely around Polaris, but they do. Therefore, we are the center of the universe. Believing in the Big Bang Theory is something that is very common today, where people think, we're the product of an accident and that, we don't have a creator. We're just here to consume and live our best life and not live up to our potential. But if you're the center of the universe, that means that you're very special. That means that you have a creator who is very conscious and cares about you. And when you see yourself as being watched by these heavenly bodies above you 24/7, you start to take your life a little bit more seriously.
Yeah. We are the center of the universe. I played a video yesterday about what was that one about? It was Flat Earth Dave, talking about outer space. Well, we know of the 7 continents. Give me 1 second. We'll fit as many as we can. Okay. and basically, talking about extraterrestrial. Maybe instead of extraterrestrial, we should be considering extra territory, outer space. Outer space is the space between the ground and the firmament. That is space. Now, outer space would be the things that would be outside of the 7 continents that we know of. Because we're not allowed to explore beyond this great big ice wall that goes all the way around us. Reminds me of the Game of Thrones, the big ice wall. What did they use to take down the big ice wall? A dragon. What did I show yesterday? A video of a guy saying, you want to see a frozen dragon? And he outlined it and he showed us and explained to us about these craters that have white smoke coming up out of them. Living, breathing, fire-breathing dragon. What happens to a reptile or a crocodile or an alligator when the waters freeze? Their noses stick up above so that they can breathe while their body goes into hibernation. Oh, it's just, something else. So many different things, guys. So many different things. And when we look at all these things, we're trying to put pieces of this big puzzle together, trying to figure out who's right, who's wrong, who's good and who's evil, and knowing that some that are pretending to be good are really bad, and some that are pretending to be bad are actually really good, and we know that there's a whole bunch of actors involved. So much of this, when we're looking at all of this and we're trying to figure it all out, we have the option and the choice to either live in knowledge or live in doubt and question regularly. So we need to, I know the Creator put me here for something a lot bigger than growing cannabis and raising dogs. What that purpose is, I learn a little bit more about every single day. Each and every one of you is here for this time. Is here for this time. We have gone through the things that we have gone through for this time. Because while everybody else is losing their shit, we're standing our ground. We're firm-footed. We might be a little shaken at times, but we are firm-footed and we are standing. Yep. Tim says, what chopped down Devil's Tower? What's the big axe handle across another tree stump? Why were those trees cut down? Those trees were cut down so that the giants didn't have any way to get above the waters when the flood happened. Yep. So there are lots of things. Lots of things. You know, wouldn't it freak people out if there was a giant on the outside of our firmament, looking in? You look up in the sky, and all of a sudden you see this big giant's head there, and finger pointing, and you'd be like, "Holy crap! Here we go, Gulliver. Here we go." Because didn't Gulliver, didn't Gulliver experience both being small, like as in comparison to the Lilliputians? The Lilliputians were the little people when Gulliver, in the first of his travels, right? Okay, he was a giant to them. He helped them, and then, then he ended up being a little person in another world. Maybe these stories there's more to them than we know now. And I'm not going to say than we could ever know, because the way that things are coming out now, I think we're going to know a lot. A lot. Yep. All right, guys. So that's going to be it for me today. I will see you guys again, quite possibly tomorrow or Monday, based upon whatever comes out. I'm not sure if Trump is speaking today anywhere or not. Let me pull up Rumble and check real quick. He's actually, let's see. Is he already speaking? Give me 1 second here while I hate these commercials. I really do. Watch what steak does to your gut. Oh yeah, he's not speaking yet. So I'm pretty sure that that somebody's going to end up going live and broadcasting his speech. But he's due to speak. Does it say what time he's due to speak? Is 7 p.m. Eastern time. So he's due to speak 4 o'clock. Hold on. If it's 7 p.m. Eastern time, it'd be 4 o'clock West Coast time, which is in another hour and a half. And I'm not going to be on for that. So, So he's going to be speaking. He's doing the rally is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Saturday, June 22nd, 2024 at 7 p.m. Eastern time. 4 o'clock West Coast time. So set your DVRs or set a timer and remind yourself that he's going live, and we'll go from there. All right. Remember, God loves you, our creator, the one who created both the heavens and the earth. Yeah, him, that guy. The one that we were created in the image of. Yeah. And his awesome son, the Christ. Yeah, the Christ. Right. And me. We all love you. And we'll see you again real soon. Peace.